think that I just come in there and look for knockouts, and that's not the case. I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, wait, I'm here. Who wants to fight with me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter can beat me.
Our goal is to demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all the belts, all of the titles.
Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. It feels so good to be back. Oh man, we right back at you with another one, man. I don't really know what to say, man. It's gonna be a little funny one, man, but I'm just glad that I got some good people around me, man, that have been tracking this boxing stuff, man, taking notes. They got memories like elephants. You know what I'm saying? I'm just glad, man, I'm just glad, man, because boxing conversation today will have you losing your blood clot mind, you know. But we on it, man. We moving, you know. I was able to take part in a chat today with a channel I've been frequenting lately, and heard some pretty good things. And a precursor to this one, we're not going to do the whole review of the interview. It was fairly lengthy, and you know, I think Cam J, I think he did a great job at, you know, inserting his takes on it, and I agree with, you know, most of everything that was said on his part. So salute to him. You know, if you want to go and be gathered around with a group of people that's going to really be talking boxing and are really going to put their input out there, and they really care about it, if they doing it on a regular basis, then that's a good place to channel. So, I mean, a good channel to frequent. So, subscribe if you haven't to Cam J. Go back and look at the breakdown that he did of the interview. You know, and then listen to some of the things that was being said afterwards. I was trying to, you know, get on the panel, but a lot of people were already up there, and I was waiting in the wings, and we got off early, so I just went ahead and started playing some chess, man, and started wrapping my mind around this whole boxing thing. And man, it's wild, man. Cookie Monster say body work, mic check, 1 2 1 2, sounding crystal clear like $1,000,000. Oh shucks. I'm glad I was able to work out the difficulties. I got a new mic, so I was messing around with the new mic, and then I wanted to make sure the levels was right. So I'm glad I needed that mic check. So salute to Cookie Monster. But AC, what's going on with you, man?
Man, everything's good, man. Yeah, I've been skating around and looking at a lot of things. I was watching that interview early. I watched the whole thing, and I would probably say the caption under the thumbnail or the title, you know, is befitting, because that's the way I feel. After I listened to the whole interview, you know, I was like, my honest opinion is I liked it. I think that's how a champ is supposed to come back. I mean, I may have had a view of what was being said, but then when I heard the full context of it, because I was just seeing clips here and there, and then when I heard it in its full context, I was like, oh, okay, I could get on board with that. I can believe that. That doesn't sound like what people are trying to make it seem like. So I'm good. I'm glad I'm the overall the over under is you did it the way you supposed to do it. Fuck them. They'd rather see you get out there and get fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Instead of you just doing things the way you see them work for you. So I had no issues. And that's probably why I have so much to say about it.
Yeah, I would have loved for us to be able to get up there and rock out, man, but we wasn't able to. And I didn't really have any housekeeping, man. I figured we're gonna jump into this, man. There's some things that happen, if some small things, if you want to warm up, I got a couple things that's like a warm up, but I didn't really have no legitimate housekeeping because I just wanted to go ahead and tackle this. But I guess if I were to get into a couple things that I found interesting, one of them was the Rico, the kickboxer, who really, beat Usyk in my opinion, just like I thought Ngannou beat Tyson Fury. It is what it is. I'm not gonna cap and cape for nobody, especially for the guy that I'm calling the Great White Hype. The boy stopped him. It's just boxing is just so ugly, man. Where it's just weird, man. But Rico did a review immediately after, and what they deemed was, yes, the referee stopped the fight after the bell, but they were not going to change the conclusion. I'm like, can you imagine that you find out that somebody released a shot in basketball and it was a buzzer beater, the finals was on the line, game 7, and somebody actually beats the buzzer because they go back and look at it, but they're not rewarded with the shot. You talking about a whole city. You talking about jobs. You talking about players that might not ever taste that again. Can you imagine? And that's starting to happen more and more often. But it's wild because people will say, "Hold on, man, he stopped it after the bell actually rung." And not only did they stop it, but when they went over and did the checks, the referee didn't walk away saying that the dude looked disillusioned or disoriented or nothing like that. He was coherent and everything. They put that in the report as well. But they're not going to change the verdict. I mean, if that doesn't tell you the landscape of boxing and what we're really dealing with, then I'm not sure what else will. I'm not going to cry a river for Rico. I mean, I don't think that he deserved to get a shot anyway. I thought it'd been better for Usyk to fight Wardley, but he dropped that belt. Wardley wound up getting a classic throwback heavyweight, you know what I'm saying, one that was scheduled for 12 rounds. We wound up getting a great fight in that. That's one of the fights of the year. That's the fight of the year candidate in my book, especially if we, classify it like heavyweight fight. Definitely, that's the heavyweight fight of the year. But it was a couple other good scraps, lesser known names. But it's just odd that they have rules. They can find themselves to make a judgment that was contrary to the rules. But yet, that's not going to change the verdict. And Rico is campaigning for a rematch. Now, can he do it twice? Would that be lightning in a bottle when he do it twice? I don't know. I think he put up a valiant effort. I like the way the guy fought. I wasn't campaigning for no kickboxer to do that. I was in the same vein like everybody else. Everybody else was taking all over the Conor McGregor and Floyd stuff. Everybody else took up all over Tank getting ready to fight Jake Paul. Everybody else took up over all of these little fights like Ngannou and Fury, and then Ngannou and Joshua. Everybody else took up on that, but then we supposed to have mercy on the Great White Hype and Usyk. I just found that odd. That was one thing. Christian and Billy, he's convinced that Canelo is food. He thinking that it's the right time. I think, I mean, we all saw it. Like, we're not gonna act like just that we just now saw a decline when Canelo fought him. I mean, one of the things is like some fighters, man, when they see a decline or they see an opportunity to, strike while the iron is hot, or take a shot at at an opportunity, almost like it's a couple other guys. It wasn't just with the Bud and Canelo thing, but it was like when Devin saw the performance that we just had with Zorilla. When people start seeing the decline in Tio, somebody mustered all the courage to jump up to 40. There's been some time where people saw opportunities to jump on people when they didn't have their best performance, and they capitalized on it. And I think that in Billy with them power hooks and, really seeing that Canelo is a mere mortal. At one point in time, people were talking about him like he was immortal. I think that I like him Billy's chances. He swings a lot. Canelo, he's been gassing lately. And in his last couple fights, he's been gassing. His gas tank hasn't been the same. They say power is the last thing to leave, but he's going to have a lot to prove. He's definitely not going to be able to carry this guy the way he did Jaime Munguia. And Christian and Billy can throw them power wings for a full 12 rounds, non-stop. He can play rock'em sock'em all day. He can take a licking and keep on ticking. He got a chin. He's durable. He's a pressure fighter. It's going to be up to Canelo. And can Canelo get back to rare form? Can he use his technical ability? Because Canelo has always been known for having some of the best upward body mobility. And he also has a very nice punch selection. And if he catch you clean, he can drop anybody, even at this age. But I like in Billy's chances. I'm not saying that this is just all in the bag for Canelo. I'm actually kind of leaning, saying, hey, man, and Billy is ready. He knows that, what they say, carpe diem, seize the moment. He knows that it's a time and an opportunity to be able to do what he needs to do to get his name in the history books. And I think he's poised. You might be able to shock the world. I don't know. But I saw that. I was trying to look for some O'Shaquie Foster news because I'm kind of feeling the same way I felt after Brian Norman took the loss to Devin Haney. Although O'Shaquie, a guy that we've been pulling for, he won handily. He dominated. You talk about a 118, 110, 116, 112. That's domination to me. We can just throw out that 114, 114 because we know that was some BS. So I wanted O'Shaquie to keep his momentum, and just like in devastating media fashion, man, when it comes down to O'Shaquie, people are acting like the thrill is gone. We do have some big fights coming up in Boots and Xander. I'm not sure if that's getting the publicity that it needs. I see stuff, but it's more like them little channels that do that mix-up, mash-up stuff where they take these clips and remix them and add their little AI commentary. I see a bunch of that, but I don't see nobody on a regular basis really talking and diving into it. We got people that'll touch bases on it, throughout their conversation and glancing blows. I don't really see anybody doing an in-depth cook, man. So it might be time for this channel to do an in-depth cook on it and really, go in where it's like that's the meat and potatoes, because I haven't done one of those since I did the episode where I said the thumbnail was, dare I say, and it said 50-50. Now, I don't believe it's a true flush 50-50. I got it like 60-40 boots. But I like the confidence of Xander, and I think that this does mean a lot for boxing. There was some outrageous things that was said here lately by both sides. I think both sides, the way I'm looking at it, they both looking a little cocky, even though you want to hear confidence. But I'm like, man, the loser, man, the media is going to do the loser bad. Because they're talking that cash money. Boots talking that cash money. Boots said he's the cash cow. I was like, man, what happened? Where was I? Like, I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? That's news to me, But then again, there's some people out here that think that I don't know shit about boxing. So those are just some nuggets, what I'm saying, that I've, been milling around over in this whole Bam thing, and people jumping to conclusions, wanting to debate and tongue wrestle with you about if Bam ready and who they got in him and Monster. I'm like, look, Bam's saying whoever's clever, I'm ready for whatever. And I like that energy. I think he's built like that. I mean, so those are just, if I had a housekeeping, you know what I'm saying, it might have been along the lines of some of those things, AC, but I don't know if you want to touch any of that or you want to go straight to the meat and potatoes.
Basically, I was just going to say, concerning the Xander and Boots thing, I was looking at a video that they just dropped today. It was, I guess, a preview to what they're going to be launching soon, some series called Locked In for this fight. And it's an interesting dynamic on watching that preview and then seeing how they're pushing this narrative. Even within it, it still seems as though people are leaning, just because of the eye test and stuff like that, they're leaning heavily towards Boots to win, and Boots to win in some sort of fantastical fashion and stuff like that. And I'm just like, let's just see the fight. There's a lot of dynamics in there that both guys have to answer, and that's what makes it dynamic. If you gonna put all of that hyperbole on the fight, then you give the built-in excuse of he wasn't ready. You already kind of do that. And this is not Floyd Mayweather versus Canelo Alvarez, and it just amazes me when some people go to that level, and they ask the question, is this like Floyd Mayweather, or can it be compared in some sort of way to when Canelo Alvarez fought Floyd Mayweather? And I'm like, okay, realistically, when has Boots done half of what Floyd done? For us to even talk like that. You know what I'm saying? So let's just enjoy the fight, enjoy the mix, keep all our hyperbole bullshit away from it and stuff like that. And I mean, if you want to do it, get heavy with the sauce on fight week, fine, it's fight week. But the way it's getting real saucy right now, it's just like, wow, okay. It is what it is. And outside of that, just concerning the Bam situation, I just wanted to say personally, shout out to Bam, solid victory, good look at it. You know what I'm saying? It's too bad his victory and any talks are being overshadowed by some of this. I would probably chalk it up as, as they say, AI slop by boxing slop. This is like boxing slop, and unfortunately, this would be my segue into the meat and potatoes, but unfortunately, we have to deal with this boxing slop because, the real ones that are out here doing it, there is no drama behind what they're doing. They're just clean cut doing it. You know what I'm saying? I can't explain the sweet science to you. I can't, ask for, rehydration clauses. Clarissa Shields is not in the mix and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, it's, now we just going to go into the era of boxing slap because the media wants to push certain fighters. And meanwhile, while we got these great fights coming up, the media wants to talk about the slop. So that's basically what it is.
Yeah. Only thing I want to say is, man, I just, it's in my theme of this PBC thing. It's crazy. It's almost like they been blackballed, and there's been a gag order or an order to never promote or say anything positive. I just find that people are acting like Fundora is chopped liver, and at 154 he's what I would consider an enigma. Like, that's a tough challenge to solve. I know you don't really care too much for Pandora, but like if we keep it in the vein of what has he done, like he got a pretty stacked resume at 54.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I
you know, Tim Lu twice. He got, you know, he put pause on Keith Thurman. Erickson Luba, Uppercut Central. Yeah, he had, he got stopped, but he's learning, he's grown, and I think he's coming to his own. And then watching the sister progress, and the synergy that they got, and him, fighting, proper, like fighting more like how Hamza fight, behind the jab and hooking off the jab, and that using that uppercut and his dimensions for that weight class, and his punching power is underrated. But like, I just find it odd that everybody acting like he chopped liver, and nobody talks about Josh Kelly, who got the other strap. So it's kind of weird. And people say that, 154 is the hottest division. I think it's the second hottest division. If they mixed it up just a little bit more, it probably could take 140 since, the guy, the babyface fencer moved up to 140. 140 is like, man, he's like clogging up the pipeline. But I just, it's just odd that people just act like people are chopped liver. I'm like, don't you know that that's your greatness? Like getting in there and stopping him next. And I know people don't want to look forward, but they look forward to everybody else. So I just find it odd that front door is chopped liver. But we can get into the meat and potatoes.
Sure.
Ready?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I was divided. When I seen it. For one, I know that, I know the thing. I know it. I got love for Andre Ward, but I know that in the space that he's in, I like it when he's with Roy. And they talking about like anybody that they don't have a real vested interest in. Not really Roy, but Ward. Like we know Ward is affiliated with. Like it's going to be a bias. It's going to be an underlying bias for things that go along with Buzz. It's going to be an underlying bias with things that go along with Shakur. Anybody that's affiliated with him. That's just is what it is. I don't know if it's the top rank thing. I don't know if it's because he's taking these guys under their wing. But for me, I was trying to stomach the fact that, yeah, he was saying I called you and I did this, but I don't know if that was like keeping tabs. I don't know if that was you being nosy so you can go back and y'all can talk behind a closed door, because I remember some of the things that was being said. I remember all of it, and we can act like we can rewrite history and we can act like some of the things that wasn't said leading up to the Errol Spence and Bud fight, but we all were there. Nevertheless, Errol being the man that he was, he sat down with Andre Ward. I like the setting. I like that Earl was, comfortable. And Earl was just Earl. That's why I say, man, people just don't like the truth. He has that moniker. Yeah, people know him as the big fish, the biggest and all that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people tried to closet that or put that up in the bookshelf because he lost the bug. But that's who he is. And he resonated with them by being the person that he is. Earl is a one of one. Like, there's not many guys. He's a true throwback fighter. I went over some of the things that he's done, in the sport, and I'm like, man, your favorite fighter might got way more accolades or be jumping all these different divisions, but I explained how certain fighters were starving themselves for 2 days to stay in the division, and we've seen people look like Skeletor and all of that. I seen Earl, he kind of looked, maybe once or twice I seen him where it's like, oh, okay, he looked a little drained a little bit going into a fight, but he never looked like Skeletor in my opinion. And he's one of them guys that got into a division and settled in. Like, that was his division for years and years and years. And he collected 3 straps. Like, most fighters would never even taste the strap, but let alone consolidate 3 of them things, and that's and especially the way he did it in the names. They're discrediting the name. Like, people are discrediting victories over Danny, victories over Mikey, discrediting the victory over Kell Brook. But anybody that fought them afterward, they get full credit. You even hear Bill talking about, yeah, Devin might want to get in the ring with Earl. I'm like, man, it's like they can't get, like, you can get credit when it's somebody that they root for. But Earl was heavily accomplished, and it was really Earl's demeanor and his personality. He was the one that really put that whole keep that same energy. That's Earl. You know what I'm saying? That was saying that tune-ups. I don't do tune-ups. He was the one that said that. So if your favorite fighter had that mantra and he was that big, then boxing would be in a better place. And I think that because of the results, what boxing fans do, because of the results of his last fight, I think that people are rewriting history. He said a lot of things in his interview, but he showed that he's just a realist. He's just telling the truth. And my stance is this. Right when we seen the results of that fight, true Errol Spence fans were hurt. You know what I'm saying? We was like, damn, you know what I'm saying? We didn't want to like, that was almost like the beginning of seeing Roy when he get, you know, now Earl got, you know what I'm saying? Earl got stopped. He didn't get knocked out. He didn't get sparked. You know what I'm saying? Harvey Dock came in and consoled him. He still showed face. He didn't run away in the locker room and hide, because I've seen people lose and they, you know, be sore losers. He stood there, and even after face looking, you know what I'm saying, all crazy, he sat there. He gave props. He didn't discredit. He didn't do any of that. So we dealt with that at the time when we saw the results. And I just find it odd that people are acting real brand new when we finally get the truth. And in a way, I've heard some things from some people that claim to be fans of Errol Spence, but I'm not sure. I think some people got exposed. And I'm not gonna steal none of your thunder, because you had, I couldn't put it into words, but just talking to you about it, and then when you said what you said, I said, damn, that's it. That's the feeling I had. And I'm like, I know it was like one of them Seinfeld moments where I'm just like, how, like something about Mary when he got the beans above, how you get the beans above the Frank? Like, some of these fans somehow got the beans above the Frank. They all fucked up. So break it down from your perspective, man, because we know one guy who he was bragging about pretty much exposing Earl and how Earl wasn't right. But then if I come out and say, oh, well, you know, as an Errol Spence fan, my guy wasn't right. Oh, you just discredited from Bud. I'm like, but you broke the news. But, you know, give us your spill, AC, because the way you put it earlier, I was just like, man, Eureka.
Well, the way I saw it was like this. When everyone was going through the tribalism, right? There were people on both sides reporting to the things that Errol Spence was talking about. And they were saying in real time that, oh, Errol's team are just trying to make excuses and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, there were channels that were pro Errol Spence channels saying, I know for a fact, I got inside information that Errol Spence has a rib injury. His eye was messed up. He didn't spar for 2 months leading up to the fight. So I'm sitting here in real time, you know, saying to myself, okay, I hear that. I'm hearing what people are trying to say, but at the end of the day, if this was some shit, like I said earlier, if this was some shit that you have to hindsight about, or is a hindsight situation, then, you know, it is what it is, because in hindsight, these were the same people who were breaking the news and telling us in real time that, yeah, this is what's going on in Errol Spence camp. When it was coming down to it, these were the same people who were reporting on Errol Spence almost fainting when he was jogging and stuff like that in Vegas. So all the way up to the fight, they the same people who were supporting Errol Spence and, you know, wanting to talk to him and calling him champ and everything, these same people were telling us what was going on in real time. And maybe it was some sort of giant cognitive dissonance or whatever, that people weren't accepting what they were hearing. It was part of the debate, but it went over everybody's head. And now the same people are out here talking to you like they're so disgusted at what Errol Spence was saying. And it's like, how can you be disgusted when you were the same person because I know the circles you was running in. I know the timeline. You guys were doing debate series and you were popping up on everybody's channel saying, no, you know this, you know that, Errol Spence this, Errol Spence that. And you bud buddies and blah, 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 blah. But now everybody's out here like, oh, I feel betrayed. Errol Spence is like, why you wait 3 years later to tell us? He didn't wait 3 years later. You knew what the fuck was going on in real time, but you just couldn't accept that that was just the truth of what was going on. At least Body was consistent in saying, yo, by the time I saw that man walking in the ring, I was like, yo, something off with him. This ain't the Errol Spence that I remember. He don't look right. Then he tells y'all in the interview why that was happening. And then you niggas is mad at him. Like pressure and just going through it ain't put a motherfucker to sleep. You feel what I'm saying? Niggas got problems with their girl. What do some niggas do? Yo, I'm just going home, bro. I don't even want to talk. That nigga go home, get himself something to eat, something to drink, and that motherfucker will pass the fuck out like he tired. People do that shit after long days at work. So when the pressure's on you, and then you find out that the man was like, yo, I don't even know, I don't even know if I want to continue with boxing. Where I'm at in this headspace and dealing with this motherfucker for the last 5 years and all of this other shit. Man, come on, man. At this point, I just want this shit to get over. Like, niggas ain't never really went through that. Like, none of y'all who criticizing Errol Spence never went through that. Stop it. You motherfuckers will go through that shit over a girl 1,000 times. You can't even commit to some of these dudes can't even commit to a chick for a fucking year. He committed to a sport where he's getting punched in the fucking head. For 15 years, he was doing that shit. He told y'all how he felt with young people getting punched in the head. He was like, that shit just don't seem right. He said, do you know what it's like in football when you get hit so hard and you wake up and that shit, you hear that ringing? Yeah, that's a real tell that you've been concussed. But y'all ain't got no problem with that. Fake ass fucking Errol Spence fans. Y'all niggas did all of that tribal bullshit. Kick people off your panels. Call people all kind of fucked up bullshit. And none of you motherfuckers is standing on 10 behind homeboy. And I had no issue with his interview. I thought his interview to me was on the same line as me watching Brian Norman Jr. interview. It's almost like he watched that and said, you know what? That's the type of honesty I'm gonna come out with. I'm gonna stay on business like that. And when he was talking about, he knew it was gonna be bad. He wasn't talking about him talking about this situation and people trying to give him backlash. He was talking about the situation that he broke it down after the fact. Like, yeah, we weren't working on this defensive thing. We weren't working on this offensive thing. So he knew what he needed to beat Terrence Crawford. And then you kind of figure out, okay, so why would they break up? Why would this shit happen? Well, I kind of be pissed off at my coach too. It's like, bro, we had this relationship, man. You got to be able to stand 10 toes down and tell me no or tell me nah, fuck that. We got to get in this real work. And that's not shifting blame on nobody. That's saying, I paid you to do that. That's what part of your fucking pay was. So at the end of the day, bro, I'm just like, me personally, I'm disgusted with these so-called Errol Spence fans who are coming out their face right now, standing on the soapbox, acting like real fucking drama queens. Like I said to Body earlier, queenies, shut the fuck up. Because when the videos was coming out after the fight, and there was this dude out there and he was making those videos, 50 excuses, 51 excuses, 60 excuses. Those same things that he was saying Errol Spence brought light to. If all of y'all was saying something wrong, now that you got confirmation, now there's a problem, you just wanted to live on the fact that whatever. And I'm gonna land it right here. All you fucking weird Terrence Crawford fans, all you fucking weirdos out there that are probably gonna cook on this shit like that, because I'm about to burn the building down. You hear the motherfucking fire department. I'm about to burn this shit the fuck down. At the end of the day, you niggas is full of shit. And that's why I don't rock with more than half of y'all. Because at the end of the day, y'all trying to make this shit about Bud and you? What kind of fucking dumbass pussy shit y'all dudes on? That's like me and Body trying to make Brian Norman's loss about us. You feel what I'm saying? Make what Brian Norman said after the loss about us. No. Errol Spence spoke his truth. He told y'all what happened. He told y'all the things leading up to it. He told y'all his mindset. He told y'all everything. But I bet you if it was like Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, or one of them other fucking dudes out here talking about, nah, it was just more like mental illness, y'all niggas would have had no problem. But the man just tells you honestly, like, yo, I didn't know where I was in boxing. That's not enough. And if I would have walked away from the fight right now, we'd have probably been talking about this fight right now. This is probably when I return. He talked to Al and said, Al, listen, after this fight, set me up with some shit, because I really don't know what's going on. I don't know. Everybody loses love. As a chef, there were times where I was ready to walk away. We all do it. We all do it because we know we have a passion for that thing. And if we fall short on our rise, on our best run, it's frustrating because it's like I done put everything to try to climb that mountain. I got almost to the top, and that one fucking ass slippery rock fucked everything up for me. And yeah, now I got these scrapes and bruises on my shit, so I can't climb that shit right away. I gotta first heal up first. When I heal up, if I'm ready to go back and do that shit again, I'm gonna do it again. And Errol Spence just came back and he was just like, look, I just let everybody know I wasn't coming back until I knew what I wanted to do. He back in that space. I loved his look, his complexion, his aura. I was like, oh my God, Earl about to hurt something. He about to come back and put it down. The same shit I was rooting for. And I was rooting against him against Terrence Crawford. But I'm rooting for him on his comeback. Let you weird ass motherfuckers know what really is, what a real Errol Spence fan look like, what a real boxing fan looks like. And that's where I land at.
Yeah, man. Man, like Errol's the real man. And salute to Miss Coleman. Salute to Miss Coleman. You know, that's exactly what I be saying. They say we were just making excuses, but turns out the truth was the truth. That's why I said, man, you in this game, you damned if you do, damned if you don't. I'm like, we realized the verdict. I knew myself. I said, man, he looked like, I ain't know if it was no, because I'm like, I don't know if nobody get out there and blow no trees. But like when I saw him, and you know, Earl kind of got that look sometimes, but like when I saw him getting ready to come out, I was like, I looked at my baby, I said, babe, why he look like that? Because I said, man, why he look like that? And she be calling, I'm about to start recording myself pre-fight, you know what I'm saying, with some of the things I be saying. I said, why he look like that? I wasn't making no excuses. And I was just like, and I gave Bud full props. I didn't see it. He came out with the outfit, the net, all of that. I gave that man his props, and I said, I made a new rule. I said, listen, if a man decide to get in the ring and he ain't supposed to be in there, I am not going to make excuses for what happened. But just like when we record history and things that go on, people can make observations. I said the same thing about Tank when he got in there with Lamar Roach. I said the same thing about Jamel when he went up there to, with Canelo. I was like, man, my God, he ain't. And the stuff Tank was saying, I was nervous as hell because I'm like, Tank don't seem like he in the right headspace. That is not making an excuse. That's not making no excuses. But your fighter have a rough performance and, oh man, because he got a herky-jerky style and he do this. That's an excuse. But it's like, Earl is damned if you do, damned if you don't. We knew that verdict back then. And for all these people, this is why I be trying to say, man, it's funny, man, because I always say the first, well, you know that saying when they say the last shall be first and the first shall be last. That's a real saying. And Earl even said tables turn. He went through that with Keith Thurman and all that. But like, this is the slippery slope for all you breaking news looking asses. If you out here breaking news, like a lot of y'all, because it's a lot of people claiming the fame, that's how they get their audience, because they always got some breaking news, meaning that either A, they got some snitch providing them with information. Back then and there, what AC's point was, and I know it, I remember it clear as day, because we fell out with a motherfucker, and I was like, man, I don't know how I feel, because every time we would get up there and talk about boxing, it would always come around to, well, you know, I released the footage about how Errol Spence, like how he was, man, in the video when he was sitting there telling this girl, you know, this and that and all that. I broke that news. Okay, dummy. Well, if you broke that news, and there's some other people that out there, some people that I heard, and I'm gonna address this in a second. But there's one cat that we fell out with, I'll speak for myself, that I fell out with. I felt some kind of way every time he would bring up this story about supposedly expose, like, you an Earl fan, but you exposing Earl. But then if I say, oh, but then me in the same verse as a true Errol Spence fan, if I say my guy wasn't looking right, oh, you just trying to take away from Bud. No, you took away from Bud's victory. How you gonna break news saying the man wasn't this and this and that in real time, and now you're disgusted? I heard a nigga say, man, people bought planes and tickets and all that. Did you buy a plane? Did you buy a flight? Did you buy tickets? If you didn't, then who the fuck are you? Did you put your money down? I put a little something on it, but like it wasn't nothing. That's what it is. That's why they call it gambling. It's a gamble. You don't know what's happening. You don't know what the sport of boxing got in order. You don't know if somebody got their water bottle spiked. You don't know if somebody did some old gladiator shit where they done hit a nigga up under the chest. You don't know, but it's funny how people were breaking news about how his ribs was cracked and all this and all that. Then when we say he don't look right now in real time, when he finally come out and just tell the story. We've been waiting on this shit for 3 years. I was one of the ones that came on to the video and said, Earl, move on, man. Like, stop waiting around for this dude. Like, we all know how you built. You don't do tune-ups. We know you don't duck no smoke. Fuck what the media is saying. Keep moving how you moving. Just move on. But Earl, in stubborn fashion, the way he said he's stubborn, it was nothing going to stop him. And I heard a woman say this earlier, and I'm like, man, I agree with 100% this woman. Every time I hear her talk, everything she say, I agree with. And she basically said the same thing I said, because I got videos on wax to prove it. When we knew that Earl was still going to get in the ring with a torn retina with Manny Pacquiao, I said, man, there's nothing that's going to stop Earl from getting in the ring. And now boxers like that. That shit remind me of not the Gladiator movie with Russell Crowe, but the Gladiator movie with what's it, Cuban Gooding Jr. One of my favorite movies, an old school movie, that boxing movie where he was boxing in high school and all that. Man, his Puerto Rican friend, man, when he got hit by Black Death, and they already knew something wasn't right. Like, they knew he wasn't right, and he had a concussion, but he wanted that bread. He wanted to get in there. So then he got in there with the little homeboy that was doing the sneaky shit, putting that shit on his gloves or whatever. There was nothing gonna stop that dude from getting in the ring. That's how Earl is. He just doubled down and told y'all that. So we dealt with it back then, and you were breaking news, dummies. That's why maybe you shouldn't be breaking news if you're gonna turn around and act like you didn't break news before, and now you acting oh so appalled and how you so disappointed and how you can't call Errol Spence the truth no more. You sound dumb as hell. That's why I say, man, he got a befitting name. He is the truth. The truth. I just said this the other day. People don't like the truth. People don't like when you come out and just say pure, the straight up facts. Like, it is what it is. Like, yeah, I'm cheating. Like, I stole that. Yeah, I've been pilfering money. They don't. Okay, yeah, what we gonna do? But you trying to act like Earl's the only one that ever do this? Most people will tell you that most of the time, most fighters ain't 100% anyway. And plus, this is the thing. We've dealt with this already. We dealt with this 3 years ago when he lost. We dealt with it.
Yeah.
So why you want to act brand new? when Earl come out and tell you the truth. Because a lot of people don't like the truth, and now they want to get up on a soapbox and they play that. That's why I say, man, they play that politic game. To where it's like, oh, you're gonna get some applause. So what, you gonna get some reprieve from the Bud buddies? Like, the Bud buddies don't care. With all that grace and how Bud, even after that, think about it. Think about some of the things we heard Bud say on wax. That was his claim to fame when he finally got the spotlight on him. He would never be lit without the victory over Earl. But listen to some of the things that he said even after that. Even after Earl bent over backwards and gave him everything from the coin flip to who was walking out to, you know, the split that he had actually earned. Did y'all hear how many people they put up there in the AT&T Stadium? That man said like 47,000. When did your mans ever do that? He didn't have to do that. And Earl and against Al and all them, he went against that for the boxing fans. And this is the thanks you get. This is why I say the way Earl went out and what he put on the line and how stubborn he was. Just recently, how Brian Norman put his belt on the line. He could have acted bad and bougie like your favorite fighter. But this is what happened, and this is why I say y'all are going to kill the sports. Y'all are going to kill the sport if y'all keep up with this nonsense to where y'all encourage this crap that people get online and all this rhetoric. Fighters gonna be like, why am I gonna risk the biscuit? Why am I even gonna put myself through that if this is how I'm gonna be treated? I might as well treat the game like everybody else. So,
and that, go ahead, sorry.
So my long story short, man, if you was on a soapbox or if you were breaking news and you got the credit for being an insider and all that, stop acting brand new right now. Acting like you didn't know and you so appalled just because Earl came out and said what it was. Earl did not make an excuse. He just told his truth.
Yeah.
It's just his truth. He didn't say, oh, the reason why he won was because of this. He said, hey, listen, this is what was going on with me at that time. But he didn't never take away from Bud. He said he was the better man. And like, what else you want to do? Pull out his eggplant? That's not going to happen.
Yeah, and even Earl he even mentioned, like, he said, when I got backstage and saw my team and everybody had the long faces, he was like, fuck y'all got the long faces for? He said, we knew it was going to be one way or the other. And he was the better guy. So I don't understand what the long faces are. Look at who we lost to. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm like, bro, that says it all, man. That says it all. At the end of the day, we hear stories, right? Here's the funny part. You hear boxers talk when they retire and they'll revisit a fight and they'll revisit, you know, what was going on with the fight and, you know, on these in-depth one-on-ones, and you're like, wow, I didn't even know he was going through that. I'd ask any person this question, and I really hate to put it like this. You find out your mother dies or you got a shoulder injury. Which one is worse to you? And you got the big fight like tomorrow, within a couple of days. You got the shoulder injury or your mom passes away. And I'm only bringing that up because imagine that Buster Douglas would have walked away from the Mike Tyson fight. Because his moms did pass away. And he finds it out while he's in Japan. You feel what I'm saying? So Errol Spence is looking at that situation like, regardless of anything, I'm still going to bet on myself. I'm still going to take these chances. Yeah, even though I know what I didn't get done, you know what I'm saying? I still believe in myself. I'm not going to start doubting myself now. You feel what I'm saying? It's just going to turn out the way it's going to turn out. And that's, to me, when I said this before, and I said it on every channel I've been on, when I look at how Errol Spence fought, and I look at his emotional state when the fight was stopped, in his mind, he still believed that if he just had 5 more minutes, 2 more rounds, he could have probably turned that situation down. But he wasn't on the outside looking in. We saw what we were looking at, and we were like, all right, this is getting crazy. But in his mind, he can't see that. He only feels what his heart and his mind is telling him, like, yo, you still got a chance. It's not as bad as you think. We still can come back. And that's the part that people miss. When you talk about great champions, sometimes a great champion is not going to lose the opportunity. Regardless, I know I'm only running at 40 or 30%. We heard fighters talk about that. Yeah, well, in that fight, I was only 20%. In that fight, I was only 30%. Word? So then we can chalk up that guy was actually trashed. Because if you're telling us you fought 30% and that dude, we were saying it's going to be whatever, then he was even worse than we thought. But when you look at the fight with Errol Spence and you look at how he fought that fight, you feel what I'm saying? He didn't have much. Derek James is trying to tell him stuff that they didn't work on. That's what we find out hindsight with Brian Norman and Devin Haney. Brian Norman comes out, those weren't excuses. Those were him telling you, yeah, I fell into the game. I thought we were leading in that fight. Many people who were probably watching it on the outside in were thinking that he was leading on that front of getting into the other guy's head. And then come fight night, we found out that, hey, listen, Devin Haney and them know how to weave a mean-ass fucking spider web. Them niggas will get you caught up in that shit and you don't even know you caught up in the spider web. And that's what they did with Brian Norman. He fell into it. He admitted that, yeah, they got a better machine. I want that machine. If I'm gonna get to that level, I need that machine. Give me that machine with the type of fighter I am. Man, listen. What do you think will happen with boxing? And then Errol Spence is talking about he's coming back. He's in his right place. He don't do this no more. He don't do that no more. Y'all don't give a shit about that. Oh, he betrayed me. Even though he was talking about drinking, you motherfuckers gave Keyshawn a pass on that drinking shit. You gave him a pass on all of that religion and finding God. Errol Spence says the same thing and, oh, he made excuses. Shut the fuck up. Please. Because I'm not trying to hear that bullshit. You gave Keyshawn passes. Yeah, well, Keyshawn, he admitted, and Keyshawn. Well, Keyshawn and Errol basically admitted to the same fucking thing. Only a handful of channels went after Keyshawn for what we said because we didn't see. With Keyshawn, it was Jay-Z. We don't believe you. You need more people. Errol Spence, when you look at the context and everything that he was saying, look at his energy, look at him. He looks like a guy that's refreshed. You dudes don't like that because you just saw, you had on your PVC hate goggles. After Errol Spence lost, you put them PVC hate goggles on and maybe even went to optical place and bought the contacts. But at the end of the day, Errol Spence admitted to a drinking issue. Whereas he said the drinking allowed him to be open. He gave you a reason of why he was drinking. Because he knows himself. I'm an introverted person. I don't like to talk. I don't even like to really be around crowds. I'm an introvert. So it makes me feel real uncomfortable. And I found out, and I'm only admitting it, and this is what the fuck they do in AA. If you can't admit why you did it, you'll never find yourself getting over it. And you can say he had a drinking problem because he admitted to it. And he said, yeah, when I admitted to it, I realized that I was doing it because of these reasons. Nowadays, all I need is my family. The fuck is wrong with you dudes? When a dude tell you, listen, my life got fucked up. I almost didn't see the shit I was gonna see with my kids. Get the fights I was gonna get with my kids because I was running reckless. Now I got everything together. I don't do shit. I feel I'm way more safer with my kids and my family than anybody else. That's what a person does. That's what a person who has that come to Jesus moment does and talk talk like. That's what a person who says, yeah, I found Christ. I put Christ in my life first. That's how they sound. Notice the difference between how he sounds and how Keyshawn sounds. But y'all niggas too Shakur the fuck out that y'all can't even tell the difference. One guy was genuine, the other guy was telling you some shit because he just wanted to get past. And it took 3 years for this man, a person who says I don't like to talk, to come out and do more talking than I've ever seen Errol Spence do in the entire time that I've known. I've looked at Errol Spence.
Facts.
You couldn't get that man to shut the fuck up, and I'm just like, bro, what the fuck wrong with y'all? He opening up, and y'all niggas is mad at him, saying this weird shit. Like, man, listen. This is why fighters nowadays say I don't want to lose. I can't afford to lose my O, because you fucked up flaky ass fans. You niggas is cornflakes, frosted flakes, every kind of flake, bran flake, every fucking thing, dandruff flakes, all of that shit, because y'all flaky as fuck. And that shit is sickening. This shit is really, really sickening, especially when you got to do it like that, who's being 100% genuine and honest about what he went through. I don't give a fuck if you agree with it. This was my life. This was my experience.
Yep.
It ain't for you to judge me on that. I'm just letting you know what was going down. Judge me what you see in the ring when I put hands on fucking Tim Tszyu. That's when you judge me. If you ain't willing to walk through what I walked through, find what I find what I found out what's more important to me in life, and that's my family and my kids. And I made sure I set them up. And when I did that, then I found a different type of freedom to say, well, you know what, maybe I could step back in boxing, but I'm gonna do it at my own speed. Come on, man. Come on.
You know, AC, man, people don't like transparency. A lot of people, I've noticed that even in workspaces and all that, people will put on a facade around me, and I'm like, I don't know why they do that. Because I'm just going to be the same on me regardless. I hold a standard. I got a standard. I'm transparent. But I know, you notice, so what they basically were saying, that he shouldn't have been transparent. So these are the kind of characters that we are around. These are the people that you're entrusting your mind, your thoughts. You putting time, effort, energy, sending money, super chats, cash apps, and all of that. And they don't even want somebody to be transparent. But that's a microcosm of how society is. That's a microcosm. People will sit around for hours and laugh and say, oh man, AB doing this. But what is AB doing right now? They love that. Earl come out and be transparent, and they hate that. But the coldest thing Earl said, that's why I say, man, I rock with Earl the long way, man. I don't give a fuck, man. I don't want him to start getting Roy Jones the way Roy, you know, I got my fingers crossed. I think Tim Tszyu was a good selection. And I just hope my man, whatever he decide, I just hope that he's, you know what I'm saying, he gonna go in there and, you know, do his thing, and that, you know, he can write the end of his chapter the way he wants. He can book in his career the way he wants. But the coldest thing he said, he was like, it happened. He's like, you know how many people I did this to? You know how many people how many people did Earl fuck up? Then it took away from what he did with Mikey. Now, man, we don't want to see that. But like, think about how people are moving now and what they expect for people to do now, and the things that people have done when they get the full credit. But like, when it's a guy on a pound for pound, right? When it's a guy that they have on a pound for pound and they moving up and doing this, because everybody was on Mikey. He put pause on Mike. I said, man, Mike was probably pissing blood for a week after that. He put pause on Danny. Danny had mental health. He came out and Danny cried in the ring his next fight. He like, man, I was just going through. Earl did that. Who did that? And did your favorite fighter do that? Arguably with a Hall of Famer like that, like debatable. I don't know if Danny gonna get in there. He might. I don't know. But with the legacy that Danny got, whoever did that to Danny, who put pause on Danny like that? Who put pause on Mikey like that? But you can gloat about what Mikey did to AB, but what did Earl do to Mikey? Y'all see how dumb y'all be sounding? But Earl cold as hell. That's just like that's like the street mentality. You know what I mean? People that done got shot, they be like, hey, you know what? Shit happens, man. You know what I mean? People I done shot. I got shot. I'm glad I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how Earl took it. He like, man, you know how many people I done beat up like that, man? You know how many? And then the thing is, he didn't get sparked. Harvey Duck come in and said, enough, that's it, man. Like, that's it, man. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
Yeah.
Earl was still like, he still was looking. He didn't do like Tim Zoo when he quit on the stool. So the way, and this is the other thing. This is the back end of it. I always tell y'all that people always like to, D Calico, salute. People always like to take the results of a fight and then they want to rewrite history. And I've heard this a lot, even when it came down, like the messiest shit and this shit that I don't touch because that's just like, man, I don't want to rip up the legacy. Because what him and Derrick James had, what Jermell and Derrick James had, that was a special run. People are trying to revoke Derrick James Fighter of the Year. You can't take that back. How are you gonna take that back? Y'all want to rewrite history now, you hypocrites. So, and my thing is this: it was ugly. That's why I never touched it. That's they personal. I hated the fact that got out, but people want to know what really happened and this and this and this, and they do that just so they could point a finger at either the coach or Earl, depending on how people tickle their butt with a feather or not. Like it just depends on which way the wind blowing, who they gonna put the blame on. The reality of it is, after the Olympics, Earl was an Olympian. He didn't place or nothing like that, but he was an Olympian. They said this documentary out there how he was the hardest working guy in the Olympics. Like when they was pointing to it, they said, man, that guy. If it's a guy, it's that guy. Nobody outworks that guy. And he started at 15. So for him and Derrick James, the people calling Derrick James all kind of their personal stuff and what happened with them, that's their personal stuff. That don't negate the history that they made. I remember when Bomac was telling Derrick James that you don't know nothing about no Undisputed. I'm like, hold on, bruh. There's a guy named Jermell Charlo. Did he go Undisputed or not? And people like, yeah, you see how Bomac told him he don't know nothing. How did he don't know nothing? I'm not going to negate all of the history that Derrick James and Jermell had, Derrick James and Spence had. They had a hell of a run. He got to the last stone. That's like you clear all the boards on Pac-Man. This one pellet, you don't get it, and you know what I'm saying? You out. That was your third man. You done. You know what I mean? You ain't wipe out damn near the whole board. You didn't get one big pellet. So what? You ran into the final boss. You had a bad night. So what? So now we're gonna rip out all of the history and all that. No other sport do that. No other sport do that. But boxing and boxing fans and their narratives. So I'm not gonna take this time to shit on Derrick James and say that that's their personal business. And if you was a real Errol Spence fan, you already know how the relationship that him and Derrick had. Because even Andre Ward was saying, oh, from the outside looking in. But if you were really following Errol, you already know that Derrick James, he don't even like certain people coming to the gym. That was the friction between him and Ryan. But y'all fair weather fans, y'all don't really know this shit. Y'all don't really pay attention. Y'all pay attention to what y'all want, and y'all regurgitate the shit that sound good, and that you can get a couple laughs and hee ha ha's, and oh yeah, you cooking because you're regurgitating some dumb shit. Derrick James don't even get down like that. They had a professional relationship. Why did it look like they were like uncle and son, or they had more? But people want them to have some kind of awkward, weird relationship. Oh yeah, man, because normally coaches, no, not every coach do that. Some people, they clock in. And Earl, even if you want to listen, Earl was so transparent. He said maybe it was me. He said, because shit, I wasn't reaching out. I wasn't doing this. And yeah, I'm the type where I go into the gym. I clock in. When I clock out, I ain't called it. If it ain't a fight, I ain't. So it was both parts. You can't point no fingers. That do not deny the history that they made before the results of that fight, y'all. And that's a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, and that, at the end of the day, man, he said a lot of things that just, was right in his act. He was like, look, he cleared the air up. So here's the thing. He's telling people that, yeah, based on what I was doing, before I even got to Al Heyman, these were the numbers I was putting up. These were the venues I was fighting in. These were the things that were behind me. And when I got with Al was the person who was telling me, yeah, Top Rank gonna give me 250,000 as a signing bonus, but Al ain't giving me a fucking thing. But Al is telling me, you rock with me, I'm gonna make you a millionaire. I'm gonna make sure you're secure in your millions. Now here's the problem. Here's the problem I have. You got all of these people who want to talk about the business of boxing and life out of boxing and black millionaires and fighters' monies and investments and stupid fighters who don't invest and how did Floyd Mayweather go broke and all of this other weird stuff. But you're hearing Errol Spence saying that Al Heyman was initially bending over backwards and making sure fighters that were bringing in the numbers and doing what they were supposed to do, these guys were set on all they had to do was also take charge of your own shit and come sit down and talk to me. Errol Spence basically was telling people, I haven't touched money. I haven't even touched the Ugas money.
Yeah.
I didn't touch.
Somebody getting offended about that. And see, he said he did. I'm like, he had money tucked away. So what? Like, what are you?
Yeah, he got money tucked away. And he said, listen, I talked to Al's people. He told you what him and Al talked about as Al sitting down telling them why he got in the box, why he got in the promotional game. Because of his brother. I didn't know that. I never knew that about Al Heyman.
Yeah, I knew that.
You feel what I'm saying? But that was something that I learned new. I only knew Al Heyman. Like for me, I didn't know, I wasn't aware of when Al Heyman like really made his transition in boxing, or what was the catalyst behind him making his transition in boxing and stuff like that. But I knew this. I knew he made millionaires out of singers and stuff like that, and partnering up with a guy like Floyd Mayweather. I was like, yeah, they're about to make a lot of young black millionaires and Hispanic millionaires. And that's what they went on to do, because taking it from Errol and listening to what other fighters like Deontay Wilder and other people were talking, like, Al is going to make sure you're set. If you want to fuck your money up, he's going to let you fuck your money up as well. It's your money. I'm only going to be your advisor and try to guide you in a way to make it work for yourself, so you have a life after boxing. Errol Spence was like, yeah, he was lost in a lot of those conversations that Al was trying to tell him shit like that. And when you hear people like me and Body talk about businesses and starting a business and stuff like that and things like that, it would probably be more likely than not that we would align with a person like Al Heyman. Look at what he's done in the music industry, and then look at what he's done in the boxing industry. I'm aligned with Al Heyman. You know what I'm saying? I've never had issues with PBC. I never went into the PBC He-Man hate club. You know what I'm saying? I was always a person that's like, look, I don't have a problem with PBC. They make black millionaires, so why the fuck would I have a problem with them? That this is the epitome of black boxing, and that's what it is.
And the funny thing, AC, is nobody's gonna point out that.
Yeah, they're not gonna point out that, not at all.
They're gonna go back to what AB, a guy who they saw, and no knock on AB. I'm glad he's bouncing back and all that, but no knock. But they'll go back what AB was saying. How we know that Al ain't piecing them out every, so how they know? I'm like, but what did Earl just tell you? If it wasn't for Al, where would Earl be?
Yeah. And I have to say this. The content creators who are so outraged right now. This is the funny part, because they made money on both sides of this coin, or they're trying to make money on both sides of this coin, because they made money breaking it. Yeah, I just spoke to such and such, and I know for a fact that Errol Spence had a rib injury. I'm telling y'all right now, I just got in from my boy, uh, Errol Spence, hasn't been sparring for the last 6 weeks, and this was 2 weeks before the fight. That's when that came out. 2 weeks before the fight.
BF and them was doing that. They was
Yes.
BF and them, and the people that was at the time, the people that was affiliated, are the people now in this outrage talking all this dumb shit. And I'm like, this is a microcosm of how they do people with the PBC. See, out of all the jewels, you can even talk about the sparring with Floyd and how Andre Ward wanted him to elaborate, and he was like, listen, man, I was always thought that, you know, what happened in sparring is sparring. He was like, it was great work. And Earl was just humble about it, but nobody give him credit for that. But it's like they say the work was legendary. If it got over to Andre Ward and he was hopping up, but as an Earl fan, and I'm gonna pass it to D Calico, but like as an Earl fan, right, out of that whole interview, out of all that transparency, if you were content creator and you had any love, how that's gonna be your only takeaway? You are no different than these Bud buddies. No different. If that's all you took away from it, and your message now, you're gonna go live and you're gonna do all these little videos and your rants about how you so upset. We got over that shit 3 years ago. But you're not a real Earl fan. You play politics with boxing, and it's all about your boxing business, your YouTube business, and the attention you can get from being drama filled, like a cream puff. But salute to D Calico. It's been a minute, D Calico. How you been, man? Salute, bro.
Salute. What's going on, brothers?
What's going on, bro?
Is my mic straight? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We all good. Yeah, man. It's sad as hell. You know, everybody go with whatever narrative they see set forth. You know, and I'm definitely not talking about y'all, because y'all boys, you know, you men are independent thinkers. You feel me? And y'all stand on y'all business. But these other people, they see what they think is gonna get them clout, and they say, oh my gosh, I gotta say it like this. You know, like I have to get on Mr. Spence's tail for saying that. What did he say wrong? Is the truth wrong? Nobody give a damn when Keyshawn tell you, oh, I was smoking before the fight, man. I wasn't even taking it serious, man. You know, it's all good when everybody else tell their truth. Ryan Garcia, you know, like it's all good. And all of them, I'm gonna be honest with you, I've been saying this for years. They all were imitating Errol Spence. Ryan Garcia trying to make it seem like he beat Haney, you know, drinking and smoking and shit. He was imitating Errol Spence. Keyshawn Davis, oh, I was smoking weed before the fight. Oh, this ain't nothing. They were imitating Errol Spence. And Errol Spence, you know, was a bad example. Truth be told. You feel me? And the man just was as honest as could humanly be. You know? And I don't know why people acting like we didn't know that. Like they want Crawford's legacy to be so great, but Crawford doesn't even give himself credit for beating Errol. He don't act like Errol was nobody special, you know? So, you know what I mean? We all know what it was for years now. For years. We know the likes of a Quentin Randall can't do nothing with Errol. And I would have said on his worst day, but obviously he did something with him on his worst day. But that's the only reason. You feel me? And it was just sad the way everything kind of went down and how Errol was just chasing the bag at that moment. But we gotta respect his honesty. Do we want the truth, or it doesn't have to be perfect? It ain't perfect. We know he wasn't dedicated to certain aspects of the sport, you know, mainly outside the ring. So it was no surprise. And I think the only way a guy would ever be that transparent and to be that real if that is behind him. You feel me? This man has turned a new leaf, and he's proud to have done it. You know, like the best thing I heard him say out of the whole interview is how, you know, he wanted to walk it how he talk it.
Mhm.
You know, he want to live up to what he telling the children.
Yeah.
And I respect that a million times over.
Yeah.
Because he's saying he wasn't doing it, but guess what? If you pay attention to him right now, I think you got a good man on your hands. He's willing to do the right thing.
The crazy thing was he said, I want to be the type of person that my kids look up to as a role model. That they know that their father says something about himself and he lives that. I'm like, wow.
The type of man that his daughters would want to marry.
Yeah, they would want to date and want to marry and have those type of characters. I'm like, yeah, this is a man that went on his outrospection. You feel what I'm saying? He did it all. You know, he might have took some ayahuasca on that ranch inside of a cave and shit like that and had visions. Like I like one of the ladies on the panel that Body put me on to and everything from the earlier show that kind of inspired this one was she was happy that his accountability, and she said she never seen an interview where someone was so accountable for their own things. He said even after the car accident, he was asked this question, even after the car accident and some of those other things in the eye, you still was drinking? He was like, yeah. And he said it like, duh, yeah, nigga. That's what I'm telling you. Yeah, I was still drinking. And then shit got out of hand. And I'm just like, wow. Like with Keyshawn, it was, you know, yeah, you know, I was drinking and, you know, this and that. And I looked to God and it was like, okay, there was no follow-up questions. Work, why did you ask a follow-up question when there were no follow-up questions for Keyshawn? And then when he answered the follow-up question honestly, you feel what I'm saying? He was like, yeah. When he talked about his training camp, oh, that was the worst training camp. That training camp was trash. We've heard other great fighters talk about they had bad training camps. I got sick in camp and then we couldn't work for a couple of weeks or a month. And then I had to get back in because that whole month I was sick. I done put on weight and then the shit turned into a fat camp and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Just thank God, you know, I was able to work through it. And if it would have worked out for Errol, then people would have been like, oh my God, Errol Spence is the greatest sports specimen that ever lived. Because hindsight is still whatever, 3 years. Imagine if he would have won the fight and then he's saying what he's saying right now. People would have been like, damn, he was drinking like that and all. They didn't work on it and he still beat Bud. Oh my God. So at the end of the day, it's like, look, he still got in the ring. He said that wasn't going to change. And he said, yeah, the only thing that stopped me from actually calling off the fight was I just looked at the money. I knew that this was the type of thing that was going to set my family straight. So at the end of the day, that's a silver lining type thinker and still went out there knowing I got all of these disadvantages. And to me, it's like, okay, then it wasn't about the bag. It was about his integrity. I said, I'm going to go through with this fight. This fight been brewing for all of these years. And I'm going to call it out because I have some real mental issues right now. I don't know what my future in boxing is going to be. I'm in a space to whereas I'm like, look, I could walk away from this shit right now. If I don't go through with this fight, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna walk away from this shit. And he said, I just can't do that to the fans. I can't do that to myself. But people are talking about, oh, but he betrayed the fans. No, he did not. He still went through with it. knowing that he had no way of winning that fight, even within himself. Somewhat
Talk
kind
about
of admitting it, and then he's saying to it like, look, at the end of the day, I'm still Errol Spence. I'm still that warrior. I'm still Mr. No Tune-Ups. And right now, there's a choice, and it's binary. If I call off the fight 9 times out of 10 by his own words, we weren't going to get that fight again, and we right now would be when we talking about it. And right now would probably be my comeback if I was going to come back. So that lets you know how close he was away from walking away from the sport. But he said, you know what? I'm going to give the fans what they wanted, because I could have easily moved up to 54 and ignored this fight. I could have easily just went up there and satisfied my body and not have to kill myself to make that weight. He said, I did it for y'all. And people are like, nah, he betrayed us.
yeah. Talk about we don't know. Talking about we don't know if he lying now. Is he hurt now? I said, man, y'all ain't no Errol Spence fans, man. Y'all, you can try to be that and convince people that you're an Errol Spence fan, but like, there's no way you listen to that whole interview and now you're gonna get up on a soapbox and try to kick Earl shit in. Yeah, he just got the answers. He just confirmed the answer that we already knew 3 years ago.
Hey, watch this. I'm gonna use his moniker to explain the same thing you just said. They not a fan of the truth. You know what I mean? I'm gonna use his moniker because that's what it is. This brother is the truth, and he just reestablished that because he did fall off the wayside from being the truth, but he was, and once again is the motherfucking truth. It ain't about how many men you knock out, bro. It's like my brother AC said, it's about that integrity. That's why he the truth. This man got out there because of his word. He ain't no Richardson Hitchens. If he was, he would have sacrificed himself before he would have tucked his tail. You know? So I know he the truth because I'm the truth. I know what it sounds like. You hear me? Like, some people can't tell when a man bullshitting. We should, like, a lot of us knew last time, like, something wasn't right with Errol. It was like he wasn't answering questions correctly. You know, he was beating around the bush. He was mumbling. Things just wasn't right. It was no confidence in the speech. I didn't hear the truth. You know, now it's back, everything back to square one.
Yeah. Yeah. He's in the mind state that I was, honestly, bro, he's in a mind state that made me feel real happy for him. Like, yeah, this is the Errol Spence mindset of, you know, when he was facing the Kell Brook fights and stuff like that, he was talking like this. So he found that space. He found that space through his religious beliefs, and his religious beliefs showed him what was more important in life, and that's his family. That's his wife, that's his kids, that's his ranch, that's his animals. It's all of those things that ground him. That you don't need the crowd, you don't need to be drinking, you don't need to be hanging out and stuff like that. He said he watched the fights before, you know, and he hadn't, you know, he just recently started watching boxing again. That lets you know, because for me, I resonated with that statement. That was one of the statements that I resonated the most with, because when I was ready to walk away from food during COVID, like, I had, everything was there. Like, I'm just literally waiting, you know, for the papers for the loan to be emailed to me so I can print them up, sign them, and then upload them and send them back. I got everything that I was told. It was like, yeah, you were approved, your loan is approved and stuff like that. We just have to close everything out and set up the accounts and stuff like that. You know, blah blah blah. Just the preliminary stuff. I made videos talking about when my restaurant's gonna open up. And then that following, like 2 weeks later, everything shut down. So I'm on the phone like, yo, is my loan stopped? It was like, yeah, we're not doing nothing. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, but I could just open a project and just have it uh just to go stuff. The community is really looking for me to open this joint up. And they're like, no, 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 we're not dealing with anything, especially with New York.
Wow.
I had spent money. I had to pay for the lease. That's what people don't understand. When you sometimes when you lease a brick and mortar space, sometimes you have to pay for the actual legal part, the lease itself, to be drafted up. You don't have to pay for the LOI, which is just a term sheet.
Yep. Ain't no different than getting an apartment, an application fee.
Exactly. So
Yep.
I had to pay that. Then I paid, I had equipment coming. I had people coming in from Europe and stuff to case my spot because they were bringing in new equipment that needed specific electricity and all of this other stuff. They were giving me equipment for free, and when everything shut down, that was completely gone. I couldn't even look at, cooking videos. I couldn't look at cooking videos for like a year and some change. I refused to. I would see him be like, fuck out of here. That's all bullshit. Now it was just this automatic hate. You know what I'm saying? And that part I resonated with Errol because I know how that feels. You're so disgusted within yourself that the opportunity didn't happen, and you first start to blame yourself. And that disgust within yourself doesn't even want you to spend 2 minutes to look at something. Like, nah, fuck that. I'm done with that bullshit. But then as you start to realize that it wasn't your fault, these are the things that happen. It's just life. It doesn't mean that your dream is over. That's when I got back into cooking and was like, yeah. And now I'm working on something that, something completely different, but it's still within the space of cooking. So I understood what old boy was saying. You got to reinvent yourself. And if you could reinvent yourself and go back into the same thing after a great loss, you know what I'm saying? Then it is what it is. And for people to bring up, well, what about all the money Yellow Beezy bet on you? That's irrelevant. It's the risk of anybody when you bet on yourself. When you bet on yourself, it's a 50-50 chance. Unless you betting on yourself and fighting somebody in a wheelchair. That's you're gonna increase your odds. But when you're fighting somebody that's just as good as you, just as big as you and everything else, at the end of the day, it comes down to a 50-50 chance. So if he bet that money, he knew what it was.
Yeah,
Like-
people was frying them, saying, I'm like, well, what was he supposed to say? My camp was this and that. Who does that? I ain't had the best camp, but I'm about to get in there. Like, what dumb would do that? Like, what dumb would say, yeah, I got cortisone shot in my rib. Yeah, my rib got fucked up and trained. Like, who gonna do that before the fight? Nobody. Like, keep sweat. But if a real long story short, in my opinion, man, a real Errol Spence fan would have walked away from that interview happy that the man is in a better space, and that all of the times, like, because I could name a handful of fighters that everybody gawk for who haven't given us a third of what Earl gave us in his run. So even if you hang him up, what did Earl give us? Earl never ducked no smoke. He gave people a template for how you should move in boxing. And he gave people a template. Just because he lost, that don't negate all the success that he had. And this what resonated with me. When the man sat there and he said, I shouldn't even be here. I'm not supposed to be here. You know why that resonated with me? Because I went over to the Army as an E5 promotable. I was just waiting on points. I got in trouble, doing some of the same things Earl was doing out. I had my little clique that I was with out drinking, and I almost killed myself. I wrapped myself around one of them columns, one of them big columns that hold the bridge up, and I woke up. I had a scratch on my eye, at the side of my neck. I had something on my chest, but I saw the images of. I had a Hyundai over there. You know what I'm saying? I had a little beater over there. Everybody had beaters over there. Ain't nobody driving nothing luxurious over there. That shit was like a tuna fish can. Like when I look at it, I'm like, I don't know how they got me out of there. They said they had to get the jaws of life. They had to open it up with the jaws of life. I got the pictures. So I shouldn't be here. And I know, and when he said, yeah, well, you was still drinking, guess what? After that, yeah, I sat down for a little while, but when I got back, I was out partying again. It was a while before, and that's what happened when you young and you think you invincible and all that. My shit was just when I was in the army, all of that shit resonate with me. That's why I say that, man, the truth. I could resonate with that. I'm not supposed to be here. That's just one of the examples. Not even the time I got bit by a spider, but that one right there, I shouldn't be here from the same shit.
Hey, bro, like let's be honest. Errol didn't crash because of alcohol. You know what I mean? So, with him kind of keeping that secret, you know, like he does everything else, with him keeping that wraps, then he would continue to drink because he's gonna have an ego that told him it wasn't because you was drinking anyways. You know what I mean? That's an ego thing. But we know somebody was on the highway, basically made him crash. You know what I mean? He was being pursued. That's why he was traveling extreme speeds. And had he been drinking before, hell yeah, he was drinking. You know? But it was a lot to that. You know what I mean? It was a lot to that. And I feel like his ego let him reside on the fact that it was that and it wasn't the alcohol. So I don't have to quit drinking because alcohol ain't the reason it happened.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
But to see the man in this spot, in this place, to where it's like, my man ain't over. He's in a better headspace. He got, you know, if it took for something like that to happen for him to reevaluate, then it was a necessary evil. It was some life be lifing, you know what I'm saying? So a real Errol Spence fan would have walked away happy for that guy. Like, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? The end of the road for him, you know.
Put it like this. I know me personally, my favorite motherfucking fighters in the last 20 years has been Deontay Wilder and Errol Spence. Number 3, Tank Davis. I ain't gonna lie. But what I'm getting at is, it's like looking at you and my brother AC, you know, like Body and AC. Y'all like them to me. Y'all like Wilder. Y'all like Spence. You feel me? And guess what? I ain't jumping off the bandwagon no matter what. You feel me?
Right.
Because like, why the hell, bro? I feel like I know what I'm doing. So if I'm rocking with you, that ain't finna change, bro. That ain't finna change. It is what it is. I rock with you, bro. You know, and I'm intelligent enough to have examined, should I? And I've been determined, yes, I should. So what's gonna change because you took a break or because you took a loss or because of any, you know, any little flaw? That don't stop nothing, bro. It don't stop my flow.
We appreciate you, man. Like, yeah, like, because you got to pick wrong and all that. Like, these Fairweather fans and the bigger picture is that, you know, it's a war going on, and some of our favorite fighters, there's no coinky-dink that they're going through the things that they're going through.
I like that. You know it.
Like, they are being attacked and suppressed, and they're using the media to do it. So how you gonna piss in the community lake like everybody else? You like everybody else, you in there pissing in the community lake. You should be putting fresh water in. The man just said, hey, look.
Yes.
Basically, like, in long story short, in layman terms, the man basically said, I've been born again, basically. Like, I got a whole new spirit, a whole new, I'm revived. I'm here, y'all. I'm thriving. I'm a testimony. Instead of walking away saying, look, man, look at our guy, man. He coming back. Y'all want to shit on him. We ain't going to do that. Not over here. We ain't going to tolerate it. We're going to check that shit right at the door and say, hey, man, nah, man, take your ass back in there, change your clothes, fix your face. We ain't having it.
That shit lame. You know what I mean?
But what's been up with you, Calico, man? You been busy, man? What's going on, man?
Man, I be mad. I be catching y'all late, man. Like what time you normally pop up by 8 o'clock?
It's either been 7:15 or 8:15. Cause I be getting
popping up. I be popping up like 10 o'clock, man. I be like, damn.
Yeah, I be
done
seeing
missed
them
one.
I be seeing them in the comment and shit like
Yeah,
that.
man. I be in the replay gang, man. You know, for real, for real. I make sure I at least get some of that replay.
But you been good though?
Yeah, man. Everything great, man. Honestly. Like I've been doing a lot of that AI lately. Like on my little TikToks and shit. Like I done crossed over into the AI world. Man, I feel like I be making short movies, man. It's crazy, bro. You gotta check me out.
What's your what you say? What's your TikTok?
Like, is y'all on Facebook?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. I'm on
Yeah,
Facebook.
same here.
I got X too, but I gotta get more on X. I be streaming there and I do my posts when on the lead up, but I gotta get more active with it, man. I ain't gonna even lie. And on TikTok, I don't even have it, but I'm gonna go. I gotta start it, man. I should have been done it.
Yeah, like my TikTok, bro. I've had that shit for years. Yo, listen, I can't even log into the bitch. But whenever sometimes people send, like, you email me something, like the computers that I have, it'll still register. But if I can't sign in, I only could watch videos and stuff like that of something somebody said, because I don't remember the password or nothing. And every time I just tried to start a new account and shit like that, it's telling me, because of the email address that you're using, blah, 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 this, and that. And I'm like, you know what? This shit is not even worth me going through with making a whole new email address and all of this other stuff. So I just kind of deal with Facebook and stuff like that. But I just wanted to say this, though, concerning this, that whole situation with Errol Spence. This is where I'm gonna kind of leave it off at. I just feel like this, man. If these people were claiming that they're real Errol Spence fans, you would have taken so much away from this video. You would have found your spots to where you can commend him. And if you're a real live dude, you say you don't have to be the street guy or whatever, but you just were a person who pursued the things that you put your mind to. There's a lot of things in there that you can take away as strong takeaways, things to move forward on, things to say, well, you know what, moving forward, I think I might adopt this type of thing because he said something that I'm kind of going through right now that resonates with me. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't see it as excuses, and I'm just horribly disappointed that people are trying to label it as excuses. And that's where I'll land that plane.
Yeah, that's how I feel, man, and that's what I'm gonna do with it. You know what I'm saying? I take that shit and spin it all the way around. But hey, D Calico, I've been seeing your shorts though. I'll be commenting, and if I see your shorts, I try to comment and like them. So I've been seeing the little shorts you've been doing.
Yeah. That's my boxing channel. I'm still trying to get my weight up. I almost got 500 followers, but like my main page always be about that knowledge. I be dropping that knowledge. I'm a Moor. I consider myself to be a Moor, and I've been dropping that knowledge for at least half a decade on YouTube. But I've been doing it longer than that in real life.
Yeah, I'm gonna check you out. I gotta you got my email though, but however I need a link up, you can send. You got my link. You got my email. So whatever I need to link up or join or sign up to, I'll support you in that way. You still do music?
Well, you could say that. Yeah, I'm more than capable. I just been taking a back seat to it. Yeah, the last thing I did was that boxing song that you heard.
Oh, okay.
I did that for Riyadh season.
Cause I don't know, a couple weeks ago that bug hit me, man. I be going through. I got like 7, 8, might be 8 hours, 8, 9 hours worth of instrumentals.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I'll be with.
even my son rapping. My son, he 21. He right here. He been getting down. I've been trying to, get him in the right position. Show him
Yeah, you gotta
how
respect
it's
that
really done.
Mm-hmm.
Real.
Well, that's what's
Cause my,
up, man.
cause my city ain't really got no love. You know what I mean? Like if somebody got the wave or they got a buzz or if they know how to do, they're not gonna tell nobody else. You know? And that's some crab in a barrel type shit. but that's part of the reason I never blew up. But I know that it's gonna take somebody like me just to give somebody else a boost. You feel me? Because ain't nobody else gonna do it. So I ain't gonna never blow from a city, but I'm gonna make sure the next motherfucker do blow. And I'm gonna make sure ain't no flaw ass. Well, if I got something to do with him, he ain't gonna be no weak ass rapper. You know? Because all the ones from my city, they weak as hell, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. All this gang drill music, that shit is pathetic.
Yeah, it's not. It's only a handful, but they don't get the push. It's just like with anybody that's really doing the right way. They don't get the push before people be on that negativity, man. But just keep spreading that knowledge, man.
Yes, sir. Promise you. Definitely. Like I say, I've been trying to do it the AI way because I know, how people, like we dealing with the microwave generation anyway, so they need a little short video. The shorter, the better. Because they can't digest too much. You know what I mean? And that's all it be. Dropping them clips on them. Trying to just get them to think. Like Nova Drew said, if I could just get you to think, you would save yourselves.
That's real.
For real.
That's real. I'll be battling with that. I'll be battling with that because I could put out more shorts, and then when I do it, the views go up. But like, I'll be struggling with the fact where it's like, you can't. Because if you do it, it's gonna be 10-second clips and all that. So every now and again, you got to do something a little longer and just keep. You got to kind of balance like 30% of the long stuff. So when people really get onto you, they're gonna be on to that. That's where you figure out your target market, the ones who listen to that long shit. You know what I'm saying?
The whole 3 minutes, the whole 15, the whole 30.
Yeah. And my lady been on that AI, man. She getting real good, man. I'm so proud of her, how she be doing it, man. The AI, it's like anything else, man. Like people using it for bad, people using it for good, but like you're gonna have to learn how to use it.
Yep.
I gotta get back to my regular video because I'm into the graphics and I really want to do movies, man. I want to do like documentaries and movies.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. With the with the graphics and all that, like it just take time. And right now, I'm just trying to do. I'm in the phase of my business. My second year, going second 2 and some change now. So trying to get that to where, man, I don't, I could be free, like free. You know what I'm saying? Because my time be limited. So it's only so many hours in the day. So, like anything else, you got to put in that work. So just take time, man. But that's my vision to be able to. Because, man, you look at Tubi, you look at what's out there. I'm like, man, if I had the time, man, I got so many plots. Man, I'm a writer. I'm an author already. I've already published a book and everything years ago. I'm a writer. All things were rapping, words. I don't rap no more, but I still got it. But
AI will bring your book to life. Like it will make it a movie. For real. It will condense it into a visual.
Yeah,
that shit is something else, man. For real. Like even a summary of your book, AI will make a movie of it.
Yeah. So I'm it's a battle for time, like everything else. You know what I'm saying? Like even though I'm for myself, still in the rap race to a certain extent. Even though I don't gotta really for nobody like that. Like you know what I'm saying? But like it's still work. I'm fighting for time and them numbers. But I'm about to be 46 now. I'm like, man.
Yeah, you like my big brother. You like my big bro. He's 3 years older than me. He 1980. I'm 83.
Oh yeah, 80, man. It was a good year. 83. My sister was 87.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and
80
people
babies.
the clock is ticking, man. We more in we
Yeah,
down there
man.
through the year.
Man, come on, man. Time goes way faster now than it did the first 20. You know what I mean? Like this second 20 went so goddamn fast that make no sense. Real.
Kids and work and shit like that, careers.
Yeah, man.
Once you start getting into your career and you start having babies, how you perceive time is completely gone, because now you perceive time through the eyes of how big and what your baby is doing at whatever age.
Yes.
You feel what I'm saying? So,
Bro, we could see 10 years. Put it like this. You know how when we were kids, they say, "Where do you see yourself in 10 years?" Like, bro, I could not imagine 10 years. You know, like they used to ask me that bullshit, but I couldn't clearly see 10 years, bro. Now, come on, man. 10 years, man. That ain't nothing. It ain't nothing. Like, we know 10 years will be like the blink of an eye.
It felt like it, yeah.
I'm for real. The last 10 years was no time ago, bro. Let's be honest, man.
That's facts. That's how so if it felt like it, yeah. Yeah.
I can't believe it. Really can't. You know? I'm talking about, especially when we were young, sitting in class, and I remember the clock going tick, tock, tick, tock. I'm talking about excruciatingly slow. You know what I mean? And now all of a sudden, man, we could watch 5 minutes go by so fast, it'd be like, whoa. An hour went by, whoa. A day, a week, you know? It just don't make no sense, bro. Like these kids, they just grow up so fast.
yeah, because time is different.
Yeah, it gotta
And
be
it's different when you're looking at time pass through something else that's not a clock. A clock is a representative of time, but your children aren't. You look at your children, you can get caught up in what they're doing at that time. And then before you know it, you like, oh, okay, it's bedtime. God damn, I didn't know the day went by that fast. You take a nap with your child. You wake up and a couple hours later, it's like, oh my God, it's 10 o'clock. Or it's 9:30 or whatever the case may be. So a kid's clock is fast because it's a short day. You know, sometimes the parents get caught up in those short days because we're on that children's clock. Children wake up, they eat breakfast, you watch some shit, run around for a little while, then you take an afternoon nap. You wake up, you eat dinner, then you got to take a bath and yada, yada, yada. And then it's almost time to get ready to go to bed. That's a short ass fucking day. It's the pattern that the parents get into as well. So we're just looking at time, and by the time we wake up and really notice what's going on, our child is like 5-6 years old. You're like, where the hell the time went? Then 5 to whatever. Now your child is in school, so they got to wake up, go to school. You feel what I'm saying? When they come home, you got to have lunch and an afternoon snack, and you trying to get dinner ready and get them to be able to put aside that time so you can go over the homework with them. Again, that's another short day because then they got to be in bed for school in the next morning. So we sacrifice our own perceptions of time, for our children. And that's something after, like, I think it was probably once my daughter was born, I actually realized it because I went back to the reservation and did a little sweat lodge type of thing. And one point that was coming up within that sweat lodge was being a slave to land and time. These are the two things that'll keep a spirit bound to the earth of when you're trying to pass on and stuff like that, for your afterlife and be able to enjoy your afterlife. If you're bound to this planet through time, or through, basically through time or through the land, because yeah, I own land, and people who own land and stuff like that, they have all of these big dreams and stuff like that. So you may bound your spirit to something like that, and therefore this is where you have ghosts and poltergeists. And from learning that one little thing, I was just like, you know what? Everything has its place, everything has its reason. Don't bound yourself to neither one of these things, because then you'll find out that, more time you've wasted instead of more time you spent being productive, because you never really understood how time works and how time can bind you. So that's what I found deep from that lodge, and I just started to reevaluate time in a different manner. It's a living animal, and it does, persuade human behavior. You feel what I'm saying? So you just got to be careful not to let time start to persuade your movements. Just get it done when you're supposed to get it done, and when you see, just leading back to what to the whole topic of saying, Errol Spence was basically talking about coming back on his own time. When he let time heal his wounds, he let time see what he needed to see, and let time find a clear path for him through whatever avenues he's gonna get to that space in. And that's the beautiful thing about time. That's why I always tell people, time is the great equalizer. All you have to do is just give shit enough time, and it'll work itself out. You'll be able to see what you need to see, as long as you're looking for it. Like they say, where there's something bad, if you go looking for it and you fuck around and find it, then it is what it is. Okay, yeah. So what about when you're looking for answers? If the same principle has
same thing. Same thing. Yep. Bro, I tell people the same thing about karma. People always talk about bad karma. It's gonna come back to haunt you. Well, the same thing goes for good karma.
Yeah.
It's gonna come back to get you, baby. You feel me? Like, you can't run. So guess what? All those good deeds gonna come back to bless you, bro. Just like all those evil deeds can come back to haunt you. Yeah. People think it just worked one way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that karma, it's funny, man. I told old lady Karma, I think years ago, I said, I think we good, man. I don't try to put no, that's why I gotta cut off certain people, and I ain't really with it. I'm about peace, man. At all. You know what I'm saying? So I told lady Karma, I think we good as far as that bad karma. But it's so weird, because when you think you through, you be like, why is this? But it might come up through your children.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they say the sins of the father, pass to the children. It fall on the son. It's like basically the thing is we couldn't get right about ourselves, we passed it on.
And that's why another thing, that's why I do things like today, whereas I don't make a habit of planting no bad seeds.
Mm-hmm.
And I always try to plant way more positive seeds. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I'm not, I want to put fresh water in, man. I've always been a person that be trying to change perspectives. And when my whole thing with time was like, in time, you got seasons. Because sometimes I be like, why this ain't happening for me? And why it's like, and I'll be trying to force it doing my military strategic type thing. And it's just like, it's just not the season. And so I'll be like, all right, relax. Because in your season, because you notice how when it's your season, like, you don't got to fret or worry or push or struggle. It's just everything is like, it lines all the way up. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta be peace. You gotta be at peace. You still gotta be diligent and do what you need to do your work or whatever, and work towards whatever it is. But if you have peace and you got goals and you still moving towards them, when it's your season, you know what I'm saying? It's undeniable. You know what I'm saying? But it's not measured in 2 months. 2 months from now, I'm gonna do it. It ain't like it. Life ain't really like that right now. You know what I'm saying?
That's why patience is a virtue. Yep.
Yeah, because time. Without
Yes,
patience,
sir.
you have no understanding of time. Patience,
Mm-hmm.
very direct understanding of time. You know what I'm saying? So the most patient people understand time on a way different scale than everyone else. You feel what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
at, you know, you could always even still bring that to boxing. Errol Spence was talking about Mayweather. He said the one thing, no matter what happened, he always kept his composure. He was always cool. That's patience. He has a different understanding of time and of 3 minutes. While we're sparring or while we're fighting in 3 minute intervals. What can I get done? You know what I'm saying? It's theoretical physicists understanding Planck time. That's all a little different ticks of subatomic time that happened in 1 second. You could break down 1 second into hundreds of thousands of seconds, millions of seconds, because of this new study of time. So when I look at patient people, or like even when my missus says, I don't know, I don't have the patience to sit there and get it done, it's like, neither do I. But I understand the bigger picture. I understand that this has to be done. You know what I'm saying? Do I want to sit here and read about things that 9 times out of 10, I'm only going to have to read this thing and understand this thing one time? For the rest of it, it'll be put in a drawer and it'll just collect dust if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. But for right now, I have to do this. This is one of the things that caused me to get where I want to go. It's not asking me for money, but it's asking me for my time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's a payment. That's what people call sweat equity. Sweat equity is time you put into something on the ground, physically doing it.
Exactly. Like,
So
yeah, just like the 48 laws of power. They say it take 10,000 hours of anything for you to be a master in that. So
exactly.
so that means that's obviously saying you have to put your time in, your due diligence.
Yeah. And if you can't put in the due diligence, then you know you're a person who's more than likely gonna, I'm not gonna say you're not gonna rise. You're gonna rise, but that rise is only gonna have a ceiling. It's gonna have a ceiling until you get to the point to whereas you have to realize that time spent is different at this level. And just to bring it back to boxing again, Brian Norman understood the difference between time. Machines. Yeah, during this thing, how did you get all of this stuff done? How did you work on all of this type of stuff? And how did you get me out of the things that I was supposed to be thinking about and more focused about and spending my time more wisely so I can beat you? That's why, people don't, it's time is one of our greatest assets, one of our greatest weapons, and one of our greatest distractions. It's all rolled up in one. Now, if you're a now person, you may not ever understand your past, or you can't understand the future because everything you want is now. And you can tell with certain content creators because they're now content creators. Everything is breaking news. Yeah, they were all breaking news on this Errol Spence thing, but now that this, he's had his moment to where he let it be known, now you're breaking news again. So no matter what happens, you're always on the now. That's the id, the ego, and the libido. One of them wants gratification now. I don't want to wait. I need somebody to do this now. And this is where you get the knee-jerk reactions. You get people start saying things that are not quite true. Even when I was talking with Body behind the scenes, I was like, bro, I remember this shit. I remember these guys having a debate series. I remember the debate in KO on this same situation. because we were debating about whether belts matter, but you kept on trying to interject Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. BF was one of the judges. This is when we were all saying that you were BF's underlink. BF was the dude put you on. You and BF get together. Yo, that's my boy. And listen, brother. And yo, that's my boy. I fucks with you. And it was just like in the restaurant business when we call it the 1,000 thank yous. Yeah, I just dropped the dish off to you. I'm trying to get away, but you're like, oh, thank you so much. Oh, no, thank you. No, thank you so much. We appreciate it. No, thank you too. No, it's not a big. No, but I just wanted to tell you that we really, and it's like, look, enough. Just let me walk the fuck away. You enjoy your meal. That's it. You know what I'm saying? It's really not that serious. And that's where it's just like, this is what we're saying. 3 years ago, nothing's changed. What changed with Errol Spence? What changed within the ethos of what he was saying and what was being reported? Nothing except confirmation. And you niggas is like, oh my God, the world is dark matter is now gonna consume everything. We're all in a black hole. Reality is the Matrix and shit like that. It's like, bro, relax, man. Relax. You knew about this shit 3 years ago. You knew about it, 3 years and 6 months ago. Because you niggas was cooking on it. But now you want to play stupid so you can get more views. And then you could say, well, I cooked on this, right before the fight happened. So I was seeing it. Now watch how it goes. You're going to go from the outrage. Then you're going to go back to saying, oh yeah, we were cooking on this. Yeah, I was calling this out. I knew something was wrong because I was the person who did the breaking news on his ribs. I knew he wasn't, and it's like, you serious? So what is this? The 3 critical steps of cognitive dissonance of a dumbass? Because you're gonna try to hindsight in 2020 the argument. After you finish hindsight and 2020 the argument, then you're gonna go for argument confirmation to say, yeah, I was the guy who was breaking this stuff. Then after you get from that, it's like, see, I told y'all so. Let Errol Spence win. Errol Spence is then gonna be the greatest motherfucker. Yeah, EJ back. He going from Errol Spence now. Watch, EJ gonna come back once he beat Tim Zoo. EJ back. I tried to tell y'all. What did you try to tell us? The fact that he lied, he was not the truth no more. Now that he wins, and he wins big in Australia, you know what I'm saying? Right now, he's got me convinced. You know what I'm saying? I was 50-50 on where he was at, and I was like, I want to know what Errol Spence is going to show up. Right now, I'm convinced. The same Errol Spence that went out there and beat the shit out of Cale Brook, the same Errol Spence that beat the shit out of Mikey Garcia, the same Errol Spence that beat the shit out of Danny Garcia is going to be the Errol Spence that beats the shit out of Tim Zoo. He's in that headspace. It's just going to take him a couple of rounds to get set, to get that, yeah, I'm back in the ring type of thing. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not seeing the Errol Spence that's looking like he's going to be suffering from some sort of weird PSD or whatever the fuck y'all want to call it.
That's real. Like I can't wait to see that Errol Spence with a little bounce in his step. You hear me? Because not only did Errol Spence get lost in the sauce a little bit, the fans got lost in the sauce. Errol Spence had never employed the style that he used against Sean Porter until the Sean Porter fight. It was the craziest thing you could have did in boxing, to fight Sean Porter's style and beat him at his own game. It had never been done. Nobody thought it could be done. People challenged him and tricked him into doing it. And he still won. What did he do? He adopted the style. He tried to step on everybody without bouncing around no more. But I want to see him go back to that Cale Brook fight, like you just said, that when the other fighter bringing his thunder, you bounce right up out of there. You reset and you put it on his ass. Because that's what he do best. He put it on your ass. Now, if he bouncing, that means his defense is up to speed. And y'all ass in trouble. You know, because he getting out of trouble, and he is the trouble. You know what I mean? So if he getting out of trouble and continuing to put the trouble on the opponent, yeah, the truth is back.
Look, y'all know what the motto is over here. All I gotta see is that body work, because he is the body snatcher. I know once he start going downstairs and upstairs, and he had you arms start protecting those vital organs, he got you. But if he get back to doing that body work, the thing that made me be like, man, this dude is the body snatcher. Like, that's all I want to see. He get back to doing that body work.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
I'm
in the name of the channel.
Name
of the channel. You feel me?
Yeah.
For real.
That's within the scope of within the scope of what I'm saying. It's like, for me, when he come back out, I want to see the active jab, and I want to see the stab jab to the body, because those are the two things that used to always see. He throw the active jab up high, and then he catch you with that stab jab, and then he'll catch you with that shit again. Then go back to the active jab to close the distance, beat up on you a little bit, step back, hit you with that stab jab.
Yes, sir. Strong.
Exactly. So
controlling all of the range with that motherfucker.
Exactly, and that was one of his more impressive things that people tend to overlook. Like jab that he's throwing up top, those are throwaways because it's just an active jab. That's why the percentage is so high with such a low connection rate. And his jab is trash. No, you don't understand what he's doing with it.
Yes.
If we're talking about the sweet boxing, I don't have to always throw a jab that's actually trying to connect with you. I can throw my jab just to control a lead hand.
Yes.
I could throw it as a pro, or I can just throw it as a throwaway because I know you're going to react, pick them arms up, and now the punch that I want to land to the body is going to work. When you look at most body snatchers, their jabs are they either have an atrocious jab or they have an active jab that has a low percentage.
Exactly. I feel you. Yep.
So that's for me. When I look at him, I'm gonna say, okay, working with who you're working with. Now I know they're gonna make some adjustments, but I just don't. I'm gonna be looking to see whether or not those particular tools have gotten a little bit more sharper, got a little bit of update on how you're using it to set certain things up, because now you're free. The mind is free, the body is clean. So I'm expecting to see like a lot of transition and sequences come off of that one thing that was so successful for you early on in your career.
That's real. And what you were saying about that jab, you know, it also allows him to do what everybody has always said about Errol Spence, period, as a boxer, not just the welterweight division, but people have always said he's so damn strong. This is like one of the strongest men, like Clarissa Shields. Everybody has had to brag about how strong Errol Spence is. That jab, like you say, even if he just use it for a rangefinder, when he push you, he just controls you. You know, it's just a part of the cheat code for this big strong man. Feel me?
Yeah, he got that great front foot placement and a really impressive active jab.
Yeah, and I like what I like is that, man, whenever he get his jab working and he got you playing that guessing game, he don't just go to one side of the body. You know how everybody just be looking for that liver shot? Nah, he'll go to the right side. So you got to be, whatever he throwing, you got to respect it all. You know what I'm saying? And he's famous for going to both sides to the body. Boom, he go to one side, then right to the other side. Boom, and one, okay. Then he, you know what I'm saying? Then he'll, reset himself. And then, that's what he do. He flanks that body with those two punches. Like he don't just look for the liver. He go to that right side too, man. And when he get lapped up, And he always was patient. You know what I'm saying? He come out, he worked his plan, you know, he was methodical about it. And by about the fifth, sixth round, you gotta respect that shit. Like you, cause everything hurts. It's like at some point where he touched you, it's just hurting. And then he go in for that kill. But it just amazes me, man, that we in a time and place now to where these fake ass fans would negate everything that we saw before. Like he had one bad night. In the grand scheme of things, he had one bad night. But you see how disloyal motherfuckers is. You know what I'm saying? One bad night.
Hey, what's this? Like we done Errol Spence is a master at what he do, especially when he healthy. What I'm saying is because you know when a person is a master, they teach the other fighter. Huh? His sweet science is brutal. His sweet science is so brutal. He teach fighters that don't know how to go backwards. He teach them how to go backwards. Huh? I remember leading up to so many fights, they was like, wow. Even the Ugas fight, they said Ugas just does not know how to go backwards. This fight is not gonna end well for somebody because who's gonna go backwards? Errol Spence taught him how to go backwards. You know what I'm saying? He taught him how to moonwalk. God damn it. He taught everybody how to moonwalk. People that have never took a step back in their career. Yeah, they did it against Errol Spence. You know what I mean? By force. You know what I mean? He break their will, man.
Yeah, that foot placement, that active jab. If you don't, he gonna close that distance on you. Put his head in your chest and just start breaking you the fuck down.
And inside fighting. Oh my goodness! I did
Phone
an
booth
episode not too long ago, man. That's the lost art. That's the real. I heard somebody else say it, man. The inside fighting is the real sweet science, man. Like they ain't doing it. Stay out and stay on the outside and fence and run around. Nah, Errol gonna get up. He gonna like that. That's that Texas shit. They call it putting that ass on you. He gonna get up in your chest. He gonna put that shit on you. You know what I'm saying? He gonna lean on you. That lean ain't nothing you can do if you're not equipped and haven't been prepared for it. You in deep water.
Yeah,
bro.
You know
In the booth, in the booth, he is Clark Kent. You feel me? In the booth, in that phone booth, he's Clark Kent, bro. I ain't lying. Your ass don't want to get trapped in that phone booth with Errol Spence. and I'm talking about even if he can't see, he could be blind as a bat. You put him in the phone booth, he can go to work. He can really go to work, bro.
Yeah, man.
And I wanted to say I want Brian Norman Jr. to have a front row motherfucking seat. This is who you have to become. You have to be our next Errol Spence.
Bro.
You just got to add a little more to your repertoire. You got to become that body snatcher, that dedicated, you know what I mean? Fighter to the body, 1,000 punches a fight sometimes. You know, it is what it is. You got to do it.
Yo, bro, Brian Norman, do you realize Brian Norman has the best of both worlds? One, he done lost his O, so those inhibitions are gone. You know what I'm saying? Those are gone. He's with Ronnie Shields, which is a more professional guy. His dad got him to a lovely spot, did everything, but now he got a tenure guy, a guy that had Holyfield. You know what I'm saying? A guy that been working with the truck. So he got, and people don't talk about this. One of the guys, Earl got one of the best jabs in the game. I don't care what nobody say. But guess who else got perhaps?
Charlo.
Yes, Big Charlo.
Right next to him. Right
Big
next
Charlo.
to him. Yep.
So he get to watch Big Charlo still undefeated with that jab and that technique. And you can see it with Vito Melnicki and how sharp he is. And then Brian Norman, his last fight, man, he is getting the best of both worlds with them veterans in there, man, with Charlo and Spence. Bro, that dude, man, if he stick with it, man, and he's the real sponge, like I know he is, lethal. He gonna be lethal, bro. He already is lethal. But once he get more of that sweet science in him, you know what I'm saying?
Look,
he get the lab, man.
Look,
got
look,
everything he need with that equation, man.
Look, I'm the first person. bro, I'm the first person to call out a lot of things that happened in the fight, and just the fact of calling a victory for Haney, right? But at the same exact time, with my prediction, I always said that this him Haney fighting him so young is gonna benefit him, and to the fact that Haney will have to see him again. Like, it ain't over. This is the welterweight division, and I don't see nobody better than Brian Norman Jr. I know Keyshawn thinking he all this and that. Keyshawn could motherfucking dodge for a good 6 or 7 rounds, but he can get knocked the fuck out playing with Brian Norman Jr. Huh? He ain't never in his life been in there with no monster like that.
Yeah, and the kid's getting confidence working with Ronnie Shields, because again, looking at him in that last fight, just giving him the eye test and seeing what it looks like he done worked on and what he's polishing up and stuff like that. You see he's working on understanding time. When you understand time, you also understand distance. You can see things start to unfold before
the game slow down,
because now you're seeing, okay, I did this and now you reacted this way, and I see the position you in. Every time you in that position, I know what punches or sequences you're gonna go through. I could see a person like Errol Spence, like really, really taking shine to Brian Norman Jr. You feel what I'm saying? And then saying, you know what? These were some of the tricks that, Derek James, I know you worked with him for a hot second too, but these were some of the tricks that he taught me to fold into this. And, you may want to use that when this and that and blah, 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 blah. And basically, again, one of the most impressive punch sequences that I seen with Brian Norman was when he did that step in 3 jab. Up, down, and then back up. I was like, wow. And he did that shit fast.
Yeah, he was snapping. Every punch was really snapping.
Y'all see how fast he was, man?
I promise you. And powerful.
Yeah, the footwork was fast. The hand was fast. The twitch movements was fast. I was just, this dude is like, yeah, that loss probably was the best thing that happened to him when it happened.
Wake up.
You feel what I'm saying? Now he's back. He understands the game now. He understands, rules of engagement. So, and he's got a guy that, some people may be like, yeah, but he going to, Ronnie Shields is more learned for the fundamentals. I would say this. You can be a great chef, but if you don't know the fundamentals of the reasons of why you do what you do, all your creations will fall short, because people will be like, he hasn't developed his voice yet. He doesn't really know who he is, and it reflects in the dishes that he creates, because he doesn't understand if you're going to put a flour on it and everything else has a cheesy lemon theme, wouldn't it make sense to try to find an edible flour that has a citrus or something that'll cut through it, something that may be a little creamy texture with a little grassiness in it to undertone some of that heavy citrus flavor that you've already got going on? So you don't even know why you're so heavy on the acid or the citrus.
Maybe like a hibiscus.
Yeah, it's something that's telling you that you made a dish that's very rich. How do you balance out richness? You balance it out through citrus notes or acidity. Okay, now your dish is starting to make sense, because it's very fatty to begin with, but now that you added this citrus note, now everybody's like, yeah, wow, this is delicious. Feel what I'm saying?
And look, see, and look, man. for years people was talking about, these fathers separating, because it's you can do it. There's been history where fathers have done it. But what I think it did for him was it made him get a specialist. Like Ronnie Shields is a specialist. So it's like your father took you, like he took you up to the mountaintop. You know what I'm saying? You didn't stay up there. Like now you got a specialist to further you along. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't gonna wait till yeah.
Fine
Tune
tune.
and show you those little things, a fresh voice, somebody where it's like, okay, somebody's not gonna be emotional, not like they're emotionally invested, because you're their fighter, but at the same time, it's the same reason why the example to cut it short is when Sean Porter was in that fight with Bud. Sean Porter was doing better than what a lot of people had thought. And the minute Bud reacted the way he reacted, and his father saw that, he was quick to throw in that towel because he was like, I ain't gonna let that happen. So your coach will get you back to the corner, and he'll be like, listen, relax, get back to what we talked, and he'll have that. He won't be so like he won't be like a father. Like it's like in some ways it's kind of hard for me to teach and show my son certain things. So I'm like, well, I'll let. Because they'll get it from somebody else, but I gotta guide him, and then sometimes he need a specialist. Like maybe he might need counseling, somebody that I got the terminology I can, but you need a specialist. And so now he got a specialist early, so we're not gonna be arguing. Well, should he leave his father? Should he do this? It's like no, now he got a specialist, so now he can go that much further. You know what I'm saying? And he can refine a lot of the things that he was getting away with based on raw talent. Because Brian. And he showed me that even in that Devin fight, he was still kind of raw. We didn't know. And this is what I be talking about as far as cutting the ring off and things like that. We don't know until you get in there with somebody that can duplicate some of the things that gave you trouble. Well, now you got a guy that's going to show you. Because who better at cutting the Jamal, man, them Charlos, but who Mel worked with Shields, but Jamal, he'll cut the motherfucker ring off to where he like a boa constrictor. Earl, he know how to cut the ring off. Like that's not you're gonna learn how to cut the ring off. And then sparring with them guys and the synergy of that, if you soaking it up like a sponge, you're gonna get some hard, tough lessons because they got to show you the hard way. But I just see it up for him, man, with that situation.
Bro, that is like the underground king gym. Of like it's not the upper class like a Mayweather gym, but on the low, it rivals them. You know what I mean? And to be the young pup in that crew, man, that's such a goddamn a huge upside for him. Like he got guys that's not only great boxers, but let's be honest, they from the streets. So they can tell him better than anybody what not to do. They have been the example on what not to do. And you see these guys, and I'm glad they didn't even get around you this close until they got their mind right.
Right.
Because he was so young, he would obviously be impressionable. But now he's young, impressionable, and around them in the right stage of their lives. So more than anything, he represents them beyond them. Like their careers would be over and done with. And Brian Norman's probably would have had a short career had he never had this encounter. He probably would have never made a 10-year career, that type of thing. I'm just saying. Like he wasn't going to be a big name. I think he can be a huge name in the sport.
Yeah, now
being around this cast.
Where he's at right now, it's Kobe Bryant going to LA.
I swear to God.
That's just the way I see it. You feel what I'm saying? Because you're in there with all of these tenured veterans and stuff like that. Guys that will probably make the Hall of Fame for specific things, for stats. or something like that. But at the end of the day, you definitely will be sitting there talking to possible Hall of Fame nominees. You know what I'm saying? So
Soaking it up.
what happens is that you get an insight, you get lessons on the stuff that maybe some of the other younger fighters, because they're not really running around the circles with a lot of veterans. You'll learn how to do some veteran shit that these young dudes is just not with. Like really how to get a nice underhook going. You feel what I'm saying? Because if we will give him the same energy that we were given to people like Shakur Stevenson early on, when we were finding out, yeah, Bud is always going to be in this corner, and yeah, he's got Andre Ward in there, and Andre Ward has been in Bud's corner. And when you look at some of Andre Ward's strengths and you see that he gave them to Bud, and then you see some of those strengths in early Shakur Stevenson, then you like, wow, this type of lineage works. You feel what I'm saying? But with a person like Brian Norman, you can tell that he's going to take that information in and then immediately apply it. He's going to be chasing the big fights, that to whereas those things that he's learning from those vets and those secrets and those things like that, how to do like a real proper, clinch where you have full control of the person, and then you can place them where you want, back out, cover yourself responsibly as you're backing out of that clinch, or the way you let them go out of that clinch, the way you break the clinch is, I break it so it always leaves me in a position to whereas I could throw a 1 or 2 piece and hit you with that shit on your way out, because I got a better understanding of the clinch game. And this is sometimes what we would be looking for from some of these veterans, especially if we're gonna call it like it is, when you got a good solid young pup in the camp.
Yeah.
It's it's no different than that Crawford camp. They didn't have the Shakurs, they didn't have the Keishans, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody benefited from being around those guys. It's no different right here. People just don't want to, go back to the fact that Errol is a class fighter. Charlo, A-class fighter. So people only act like only Crawford is an A-class fighter. Anybody out of his camp, Shakur and them, nobody else. But nah. We remember. We remember well.
Because even going through the things he went through, man, what Earl was able to do to some of these guys, man, you couldn't, even going through the car accidents and all that, you couldn't just get in there. Because if you think about it, Bud and Bomac and them, they wasn't going to go fight no Ugas. So I'm like, it was damn if you do, damn if you don't. Somebody had to get that other strap. And they ain't do it. But let me ask you this, D. Coach. Yeah. But you got something.
No. Go ahead, brother.
I was gonna ask you, man, with the situation, because we ain't chopped it up here. But what you think gonna happen with your boy, man, in the situation he in? With Wally
Which
Kid
one?
And Wally Devin and Wally Kid and Wally Cat.
Man, bro, we all know Shakur Duck Stevenson. If he was about his issue, don't even entertain Haney at the moment, because you already have prior engagements with O'Shaquie that you're not gonna, that he's not even gonna, fulfill. He's not even gonna fulfill that. But if he was a man, that would be the only reason not to fight Haney right now. Go fight O'Shaquie, because you started that shit with the Ray Ford situation. Now you're doing it again with a Keyshawn situation, because I was already saying before the fight with O'Shaquie and Ford that this is just a preview if Haney and Keyshawn were to fight. It is. It's just a preview. And this is, and it turned out to be a good assessment if I'm right, because I can see Haney doing the same thing Oshaki did to Ford. Yeah, they posed a little threat early on, but they have to show all they have. They have to show all they have in the first 4 rounds. Oshaki, Haney, they don't. The guys like with the likes of Crawford, they don't. They save a lot because they download data. They want you to bring all you got. They know you got the jitters. They know you got the excitement. You want to do this for the crowd, and you've been talking shit all this month. They got you right where they want you. Now show me what you got, what you've been practicing on. Oh, good. I'm ready to dissect that shit. It's round 3, round 4. I'm finna start to put it on your ass from here on out. And that's what it'll be. It'll be just like that. And I just don't like that Shakur don't have the balls to fight these guys without, because that's like a tune-up. Even though he's not in the ring, he's right there on the front fucking row watching these guys fight his motherfucking fighter that he's been sparring and preparing for this moment. Huh? It's cheating, but it's okay. It's okay. It's the Shakur way, you know. It's the Jay Prince way. You know, put out your B class fighter so your A class fighter has a better opportunity when he fights the likes of Oshaki or Haney. You know, it's duck moves, but hey, you know, I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards in that fight. Ironically, man, I'm kind of leaning towards Devin on that Keyshawn because I don't know. I think people might get it misconstrued with the criticisms I have for Devin, but I know he got a skill set, and I don't think Keyshawn I don't think he's disciplined enough to deal with Devin. Like he keeps getting the benefit of the doubt, and I'm like, that punching power, he might have a little bit more, but like. He don't got, when you look at it or you break it down, he don't got one punch knockout power. And a lot of the times they come from accumulation. They come from him catching you downstairs and then catching you up when you're not being defensively responsible. So I don't know if he's gonna be able to get the kind of leverage he need to get that off on Devin. Because Devin is a master. When you set, he moving. You know what I'm saying? When you're set, he's moving, and when you're moving, he's set and popping. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how much the output would be. You know what I'm saying? But that John will have to show that he can actually cut the ring off and be effective without whiffing and not getting caught. Because like that's the other thing. Like because Josh Kelly even showed it. Even if we talk about style, and Xander got a little bit of this too. Like that. Punching on the move shit, that I'm getting more respect for that punching on the move shit. So like when you're moving and you can still punch on the move and all that, or you can just stop, pop, you know what I'm saying, and move, they mastered that because we seen what happened with Baccarat with Josh Kelly doing that. And so if you're not equipped to deal with that, you think, oh, I'm just gonna trap him. No, it seems a little easier. It's much harder than what it looks, basically. So I don't know discipline wise. Because I ask this all the time, like with Keyshawn, it's an inflated resume. And I don't see the caliber of guys that's the experience in there with the caliber of guys. Like sparring is sparring. I'm talking about under them big bright lights when they say ding, ding, ding. I don't see the caliber of fighter that has prepared them for it. So right now I'm thinking Devin got him. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking Devin got him, man. Right
like,
now,
put like this. It's no different than Ray Ford. It's not over for Ray Ford. Because let's be honest, 3 to 5 years from now, he'll still be a young guy and he could whoop Oshaki's ass possibly. You know what I mean? And the same thing kind of goes for Keyshawn if he can get his mind right in the sport. That I expect him to lose, but just like Brian Norman Jr. has a chance of redemption, Keyshawn could be that. You know? Yeah, I could see Keyshawn even getting greater if he's dedicated, but I just don't see the dedication in that guy. I like Brian Norman chances more. You know?
Yeah,
because you know,
it's a reason
to me, Keyshawn won an axe streak But I see more street in the country, boy, Brian Norman Jr. Like he just a clear cut gangster a little bit. Like you don't seem like the type of guy you could play with. You know what I mean? But it seems like Keyshawn will play with you. Like he just play. He be playing around. Brian Norman don't even fucking play the radio.
But that's the fight. That's the fight. It's been a little chirping. It's been a little chirping between them, but like he don't aggressively. You see who he know. Like he know who to play with. That's why I'm not fully convinced because
Me either.
he know who to play with, man. Because he ain't. You see how he ain't say nothing about no Rolly. He ain't say nothing about. He just now starting to say something about Brian Norman, but he know he kind of got Devin on the hook. But in my opinion, with him being right there with that WBO, if he get that belt, he gonna be in a world of trouble, boy. Because now you running around like you the hunter, but then when you become the hunted for a guy like that, man, with the guys like the Rohan Polancos, he ain't gonna fight Tiger Johnson, but the Rohan Polancos, the Tito Mercados, like these guys that ain't going, you know what I'm saying? They don't give a fuck about you. They ain't gonna be all polite like I don't know what light skinned Jermaine was doing when he got in there, but that's not the Jermaine I'm accustomed to. So at 47, you ain't gonna be able to play around with them guys, man. You know what I'm saying?
Like this, like I'm gonna say we don't even want to see the Tiger fight because we know they homeboys and that shit gonna be lackluster. It's gonna be a money grab. That'll be a money grab.
I wouldn't have mind at one point in time. I wouldn't have mind seeing Hitchens, but like my boy done fucked me up, man. I don't know what the fuck.
Yep.
That shit. I'm so I we can't even get. Probably ain't even gonna get Keyshawn and Hitchens, but like, hey, like we were talking about earlier, man, to bring it home. Time gonna reveal it all. We got some fights coming. We got Mason coming up. We got Albert Bell and Andy Cruz. You know what I'm saying? Big Maul gonna be on that card, so he get to come back on that Zoo card, that Errol Spence Zoo card. We got some fight. We got Boots and Xander. We got some good ones, man. We got boxing, it's doing okay as far as a lot of the PB guys, a lot of the ducking theories and this narrative about all the now David Benavidez is ducking, Rolly ducking, all the PBC Tank ducking, all these guys from the PBC happen to be ducking according to major media, which is funny as hell. But when they come back, boy, I'm waiting. That's why I say time, because when they come back, boy, it's gonna be funny as hell. Watch these motherfuckers clamor and try to go to these press conferences and act all, you know what I'm saying, all like they all whatever, and they gonna get carried.
Yep.
You remember when Earl said the blue blood, like what? Like you switched it, like you used to be. Oh yeah, no more questions for this guy. You know what I'm saying? Watch, they gonna be getting the shit carried out of them. Watch when PBC these guys, these fights start coming out, and I'm gonna be there for it.
Yes, sir. But so when is the Errol fight? This Saturday? Hey, real quick, is Errol fight this Saturday? Or Boots?
Come on.
Matter of fact, when is so when is Boots?
Next week.
Okay, next week. I knew it was close.
Yeah,
man.
Days, less than 10 days. Like, is it 10 days now? 7, 8, 9 days now? Oh, 10 days now.
See, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna land with the fact that something my boy Bill Haney said. How even like when Keyshawn, like we know Brian Norman Jr. is not a big talker, and now that he don't have his dad on his side, we won't hear a lot of clamoring, and jaw jacking and shit. But we do need to hear that people want to fight each other, and everybody that says Haney's name should be saying each other's name. You know what I mean? And I know Keyshawn not gonna say Shakur, but damn it, you have to be willing to do the heavy lifting the same way Haney got that list. All of them bad motherfuckers should be thinking about fighting each other too. Everybody want to take tune-ups and sit around and twiddle their fingers and wait on a Haney fight? What's going on? To me, it's just like Andy Cruz. I've never seen. It's not nobody in the sport that has ever had to come in with this level of competition. You know what I mean? I'm talking about 7 fights in, going into his 8th fight. So yeah, she's gonna take the flashlight. She's on that. But literally, like, look at Andy Cruz, man. Like, look at the gauntlet he continues to go through. You feel me? And we know how they treat these Cuban boxers. Isn't he Cuban or is he Puerto Rican? Okay, Cuban. Good, because that it's just crazy how they've always infamously treated the Cuban boxers, even though their pedigree is so great at boxing that you would expect them to be more influential in the sport. So we see that they hold these fighters back. You know, Andy Cruz arguably, and I'm gonna be the one to do it. I'm gonna be the one to argue for him. Arguably won versus Moritalia because that was the sweet science. You feel me? This man literally put down the sweet science. Did he put the power down? No. But when did we start caring about power? When we love Shakur Stevenson and everybody else? It's not about that. It's about the sweet science. This guy showed you how to get out of trouble, how to, evade and, you feel me, land his punches and take minimal damage. Like Moritalia was relentless, if we want to give him his credit for being relentless, but his face was beezed up at the end of the fight. Looked like a hornet's nest got a hold up. You feel me? And the Cruz looked like he must have been sparring, like he had headgear on or something. He was so clean. And like I say, he put down the sweet science, every technical possible way to box a man. He put it down, and it just wasn't good enough. It was too clean. They wanted it to be a little more ugly, and they rewarded the ugly fighter over, the excellent boxer. So, I don't know, man. I'm still gonna support and see through the fog, all the fog, because they try to cloud our judgment on what great is. But I know if my son were boxing, I'm gonna be pointing to certain fighters like an Andy Cruz, like an O'Shaki, like a Haney, because I want you to come out of there like them at the end of every fight. Win, lose, or draw. I want you to be looking like Andy Cruz, goddamn it, at very least. So that's pretty much where I'm gonna land, man. I appreciate y'all, brothers.
Appreciate you, D Calico, man. Be safe out here, man. It was good hearing from you again, man.
Always.
Salute, brother. What you got, AC?
Man, I'm gonna end it like this, man. Again, I'm gonna double down on it. I really enjoyed the Errol Spence interview. It was refreshing for me to watch him with a complete mindset. I'm no longer worried about what Errol Spence may show up, because he kind of cleared that up for me. I'm not going to be like the other people and be like, well, he lied, and now I have to look at what he's saying in this interview and think that something different is going to happen in the ring. He said he gave all of that stuff up. He's also aware that, there may be in his future, who knows, there may be a slip up, but at least he understands what the things are, and he's prioritized what are the things that are most important to him. And that's always a way to, even if you slip up, that's all it is a slip up. You feel what I'm saying? So with that being said, I'm excited. I want to see the fight with Errol Spence. I want to see what new tricks and things that he's picked up from working with Ronnie Shields and stuff like that. See if this synergy between, the people we were just talking about, see if that shows up in anything and stuff like that, and see who's out there supporting the dude. For me, again, I like the space that Errol Spence is in. I like the headspace that he's in. I just like the space that he's in, and I just think it's going to give us good rewards because he's talking in a manner of saying, yeah, because I'm in this good space, I'm ready to make another run at this box and stuff. And this time, if I get if and when I get another belt, I'm just gonna take a little bit of time to appreciate that, because prior to that I didn't get a chance to appreciate the belts that I had before, because I was always thinking of the next thing, and then I was always thinking of the things that I was gonna do after the fight, outside the ring. So um now that he's in this place, it's we're seeing I'm not even going to call it the redemption tour, because there's nothing uh he has to redeem in my mind. It's just the comeback. Let's see if he gets a belt at 54, or even if it's at 60. I'm supporting him, and that's where I'm at. This is the great comeback of Errol Spence. So that's the way I'm gonna label it, and that's the way my mind sees it. And with that being said, man, great show, great topic. I'm just glad we gave a different perspective on the interview that we saw. You feel what I'm saying? And I think maybe some people were talking because they only saw clips, and if they watch the whole interview and get the full context of everything he's saying overall, then you'll be like, yeah, this was a really great interview. You can give Brian Norman his props on that interview. I think that was with Cigar Talk when he was in the ring and stuff like that. If you can give him his respect, then it's easy to give Errol Spence the respect that he deserves for the interview he just gave.
Facts, man. I'm just glad you're an objective boxing fan, because even though you had your pick in that fight, you didn't let the outcome to mold and shape and turn you into a hindsight is 2020s, man. You're a real boxing fan, man, and I'm glad that you're willing to actually speak out in a time where that's not popular. So I appreciate that, and everything you bring to the table, AC, man. I hope you enjoy your evening, man.
You too, brother. And on to the next one, man.
On to the next one, man. Peace.
Peace.
We had another good one in the books, y'all. Had to come out and put a stake in the ground, man, as a real Errol Spence fan. Yep, I got the t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? I should have wore it. I heard he got some new stuff out. I'm gonna get the new stuff. I gotta get Abdullah's too. Abdullah got some merch. I've been meaning to do it. I don't know why. Every time I think about it, I'm like, I'm gonna do it later. I gotta write it down like I always do and make sure I check the block on that. But I wanted to put a stake in the ground as a real Errol Spence fan, man. I mean, it's nothing that he really said that should have you walking away angry and all that. It's like, man, that's disingenuous in my opinion. But who am I? You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion. I'm happy for the man that he got his life together. We got plenty of examples of people who never turned that corner. If you look at what AB doing, it's like, man, he's like, I'm getting boxing money without boxing, and all we seeing from him is drinking, and that's like, Earl turned that corner, and it's just a testament nowadays to where, just like in life, you got people that they don't appreciate transparency, they don't appreciate honesty, they don't appreciate integrity. You know what I'm saying? They just, it's all about salacious. Now, if I get a like, clicking view, if I can have a sensational take and all that, like, I've been trying to tell y'all, I don't want to beat nobody in the head. And Lord forbid you ever feel like I'm getting up on my soapbox. Because what I do is I try not to get up on no soapbox. What I try to do is point out things to where it's like, hold on, y'all. Let's use our critical thinking skills. Let's be objective. If we don't appreciate guys like Errol Spence and what he brought to the sport, You know, you got something bad, because there's already enough people out here saying negativity and all that. You know what I'm saying? There's enough people out here, especially when it come down to a certain faction of fighters, basically associated with the PBC. You know, let's not be like everybody else, man. You know, and one of my things is being comfortable, being uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? You got to learn that. That's a skill that you got to go through. You know, I used to play cornerback in high school. I was really a running back. I played semi-pro as a running back, but had to be uncomfortable being uncomfortable. You know, when everybody won a grandstand and scored a touchdown and all that, I had to come in and stop that shit. I look at myself in the vein like a Gary Payton, you know what I'm saying? The glove, you know what I'm saying? You're not scoring. You know, I'm going to pick your pockets. We're going back the other way, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to put some points up. Or you kick that ball off, I'm running it all the way back, you know, but I had to be comfortable because people had their picks and all this. Like, I had to start playing defense. Like, all right, well, I'm going to be a starter on defense. And I took on that mindset of being like, you know, because you got, as a corner, you got to have a certain mindset. You know what I'm saying? When you look at Dion and how he had to be and how he had to carry himself. Look at the great ones. Darryl Green, if you want to go all the way back. It's a certain mindset that you got to have to do that. And I bring that mindset with me, where it's like, I have no problem with saying what needs to be said, y'all. Why? Because at the end of the day, that's all we really got is the truth. You know, there are some people out here who's, because I'm telling y'all now that there are a lot of boxers that we always give them the benefit of the doubt. They could tell you anything. There's a fighter that missed weight. 2 out of his last 3 fights, he missed weight. You know what I'm saying? He didn't even do what he needed to do to even get in the ring. This man damn near skipped over a whole division. And he gets the benefit of the doubt. He gets to say, oh, I had mental health. Oh, yeah, I was drinking. Okay, so what was this? Was you drinking this time when you missed weight? Because let's be clear, you missed weight this last time. So how does a guy like Errol Spence not get the benefit of the doubt with everything he's shown us, right? And what are people going to look at when people like Brian Norman get shitted on because of the loss to Devin Haney in an outing where, you know, I think Brian Norman landed like 43 punches and Devin Haney landed like 70. Like, that's an anomaly. But we just going to throw Brian Norman out now. You know, there are guys that actually do things just because of the results of what happened with Earl and Bud. Now Earl ain't nothing. Now you're going to go by and pick apart. If you want to pick apart his resume, why are you not picking apart the other guy's resume? How about that? You know what I'm saying? I just love how people find the opportune time to say things that really don't need to be said, especially in the fragile state of boxing right now. Now, don't get me wrong. We have a lot of fights coming up. We got Boots versus Xander. We got Abdullah Mason and Joe Cordina. On that undercard, we get to see Tiger Johnson and Shushu. We got Lamont Roach and Zapata coming up. We got Albert Bell and Andy Cruz coming up. Albert Bell finally get to see if he got what it takes. I mean, Andy Cruz got a tall task, but we got some bangers. We got Errol Spence and Tim Tszyu. We get to see Big Maul coming back. You know, rumor has it we might be getting Jermell and, you know, Earl. You know, 2 out of my 3 fighters. My top fighters is Tank, Earl, and Jermell. So 2 of my favorite fighters are getting ready to fight. If Spence, you know what I'm saying, do what he need to do against Tszyu. That's what the rumor mill is, and that's the word on the street. So boxing is always in a good place to where we're going to get these fights. You know, I just wish that, man, when it comes down to the conversation around it, man, especially when everybody else is doing it. You want to be one of them people that you're doing what everybody else is doing. You're saying what everybody else is saying. No. Some people have kind of earned the benefit of the doubt, man. the bad night at the office for Earl. You know, we don't take away from what Bud was able to do. You made an observation about Earl, the same way people made an observation about Cool Boy and the excuses he made. He get to go out there and laugh and smile in your face and talk about how a security guard, Lamont Roach's security guard, had to pick him up and put him in the bath. Ray Ford get to say, oh man, well, you know, whatever excuse it was, and they get to co-sign that. Meanwhile, people like Oshaki, he get passed up, and now fighters don't even have to keep their word to fight Oshaki. We got to uplift the Brian Normans, the Oshaki Fosters, you know, the Errol Spences. These guys are moving. When you look at how they're moving, who they're choosing to fight, how they're seeking the smoke, giving opportunities. Stop me when I'm lying. You know, if we shun those guys and we turn into what popular media, major media, whatever you want to categorize them in, if we become just like those guys, man, we are aiding in the downfall of our sport. But I will say this. I always talk about the 80-20 rule. 80% of boxing is still good. The people that are reporting on it are going to make it seem like it's not. It's just we harp on the 20% that's negative, right? Why not flip that? Do the reciprocal of that. Why not do that? Why not take one of them things and say, oh man, Earl was, you know, he was on a bad path. He might not be here. You know, if it wasn't for favor and grace and whatever you want to call it, good fortune, the universe, whatever you want to label it. But that man could very much be, you know, having an RIP, but somehow, some way he bounced back. And in his time, he decided to come back, man. Let's just salute the man for getting his life together. You know what I'm saying? We knew what was going on 3 years ago when people broke the news about it. He still got his ass in that ring. You know what I'm saying? Regardless. Because your favorite fighter, more than likely, are not giving us the fights that we want. They're bickering and arguing, and they're not stepping the way Earl was. Once your favorite fighter have a resume like Errol Spence Jr., then come holler at me. You know what I'm saying? I could even say a resume like Tank, then come holler at me. I could even say being undisputed at 54, like Jermell Charlo, then come holler at me. Being undefeated, like Big Maul, with all the mental health and everything, then come holler at me. Until then, man, lower your tone and keep your hands on the car. Like they said in Players Club, man. Hopefully you was able to, you know, put something in your rucksack in this episode, man. We always say silence is consent, meaning that all it takes for evil to prevail is for men and women to remain silent. So we have to speak to these things, man. You can't be bi out here. You can't have it both ways. When you was breaking news about a broken rib and no sparring and him running up a mountain before the fight, and now you're flabbergasted 3 years later for some shit when you broke the news. Mr. Breaking News, these things should not be true. But like I said earlier, people do not like the truth. You know what I'm saying? Go where everybody know your name. They always glad you came and they always sing your praise. And then you come over here and see what me and they see the 300 D Calico, Malazar, AJ, you know what I'm saying? Whoever else has to say. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you was able to take something, put it in your rucksack, march on and take it on to your next boxing conversation. It's man down, man. It's man down till it's all over, man. I'm loyal to the soil. You know what I'm saying? With all my guys, like just because you face adversity, we all face adversity. If people ran, caved in, and quit every time there was a little bit of adversity, and they never let you live it down, they never let you, you know what I'm saying? I mean, who would I have? You know what I'm saying? If your lady ran away from you every time you faced a little bit of adversity, or was down and out, or had a little step back or mishap, whoop, like, think about that, man. Why did we do that to these boxers, man? We want to be just like everybody else. Y'all know I can talk this boxing shit all day and all night, man, but you can't handle the truth, man. And so Earl exposed the quote-unquote, his own quote-unquote boxing fan. You still got some real guys out here that just want to see you, you know what I'm saying, be successful still, Earl, and have a good life, man. Even if you decide to hang it up anytime soon, man, we just Glad you turned that corner and that you're doing good for yourself and you got your life right. You know what I'm saying? I know that movie, your life story is going to be a real movie, man. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga? Right? Oh, okay. You want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to Bodywork.